everybody, good morning. Welcome along to the next round of the 24 hours of F1, and we stay in the North American continent for a luckily dry race this time after the drivers had to endure USA. Well done to the drivers who actually survived that. But we go to Canada, the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. Sorry about the delay, we were still waiting on 3 drivers. 2 of them actually have fallen asleep. One of them I don't know where it is, but we have to start without them anyway because we can't delay it for a bit longer. My name is Jess. I'll be taking you through the next 3 hours or so, but joining me for the first hour is a legend himself to these 24-hour events, Mike Edwards. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing great. I mean, I'm a bit tired at this point, but let's go. We're going to press on through and see what these 17 drivers can provide for us here at Canada. Hopefully it's going to be a cracking race.
Hopefully it is as well. It is a natural 2-stop race anyway, so we would expect people to be a bit more on it in terms of strategy as well. And there's a few things to mention before we actually go racing. We've got a few missing drivers. Ollie Flavel, Tit Tack and Toe, has fallen asleep. Barrett Carrells, Jordan, has fallen asleep. And ERT, well, we don't know where their driver is, Elite Racing Team. So neither of those teams, if you're fans of them, won't be scoring any points today, unfortunately. Barrett Carrells have already used their driver swaps, driver changes, so they can't really change any more drivers. So we just got the 17 drivers today. Double pointer for this race is Context of Speed Esports with Alpha Merc. And who's going to be starting last in this race is Team Speed Esports, and Newgarden will be in the car for them. So they'll be starting at the back of the grid, which is not too bad around Canada. You can avoid the carnage pretty quickly around there. And just like we've seen in most of the race in 24 hours, starting last is not really a bad thing.
Yeah, not at all. Starting last can sometimes be a blessing in disguise, as we've seen many times throughout the 24-hour event so far. Keeping your nose clean, keeping out of trouble, and you'll go a long way.
Exactly. Just a few notes to add about the track. It's been hosting the Canadian Grand Prix since 1978. And who remembers the famous race in 2011 where we saw Jenson Button pit 6 times, overtook Sebastian Vettel on the final lap, and to win one of the greatest races of all time. It is 4.3 kilometres along the track, 14 turns, 6 to the left, and 8 to the right. And I don't know what's going on with the lobby at the moment. We're just waiting a long time for the lobby to start. So just give us a moment. But there are 3 DRS zones. Oh, there we go. It's just probably my PS5 being as quick as ever and being on this pit screen before everybody else. But there we go. There's 3 DRS zones. 1 at the start finish straight. 1 going into the final quick chicane of turns 13 and 14. And last one after turn 7. So we're going to see who we're going to be going on board with. Now, Neverlast Racing have got Cannon replacing Will, so that they've got their driver change there. So who should we go on board with? I was going to say let's go on board one of Mercedes, but they're doing the last 2 challenge, so we can't do that. Let's go on board with LRB as he heads towards turn 2 there, keeping it nice and steady so far. Very tight chicanes as they head towards an uphill sprint towards turn 4. It's very important to get this one right. This could cost quite a few people's laps at the moment, and it would help if I get a few things up so I can see if they invalidated or not. Now heading towards this back straight here, DRS zone through turn 7. Now you're going to be heading towards turn 8 and now 9 now after DRS straight. Go under the bridge, you should aim to lean on the inside curb a little bit as well. He's currently sitting in P9 at the moment on the medium tyres as well, so very, very brave, and he's keeping it nice and steady. Quite a few people are invalidating their laps, it seems, at the moment, so not good for them, but good for LRB as he heads towards the next DRS zone of turn 11. The exit here, heading in towards turn 12 and turn 13 is very, very important. Do not make sure you invalidate there. We've seen a lot of people invalidate there. Past the wall of champions, heading towards the final corner, and it is Ecos Alphabet who is fastest, and I didn't see where LRB qualified. It was actually P7, so not a bad lap for him. And for Ecos Esports, that's good for their double points race, and we've seen 2 drivers so far this event scored a maximum of 50 points. I think we saw Relentless do one in Portugal, and we saw ERT scoring double points win in, I can't remember what race it was Australia, so brilliant stuff, but only 10 people have set a lap. Everyone else has invalidated, of course. We've got Newgarden that did not set a time because he is the driver that will be starting from last place.
Yeah, and a very bold choice for LRB to go on the mediums, but it has paid off, keeping it valid and going to be starting inside the top 10 on the mediums.
Yes, as we are waiting for the remaining drivers to ready up and get started. No safety cars, of course, for this event. So if people bin it or go into a wall, then that is their problem, not ours. And we are about 20 minutes behind schedule for those of you that just joined us in the stream. We are raising money for Young Minds and Special Effects, two great charities that are close to a lot of our hearts. So if you can, if you do ! donate in the chat, it will take you to a donate button. I'm not sure how much we are on at the moment, but I think we're pretty much halfway on both totals at the moment, which I have to say is insane. We're over £1,000 already raised in this event. Good to see quite a few of you in the chat. 57 of you watching the event this morning. Fair souls. I know some of you have been awake since the start of the 24 hours, so fair play to you guys. And this is going to be, I think, quite open strategy like we saw in a few other races. Some people could do 2 soft stints, some people could do 2 medium stints, but what we do know, I don't think people are going to touch the hards, Mike.
No, unless you have like an instant very early on and you want to kind of stretch it to the point where you can go on to a set of mediums or softs at the end. The hards really shouldn't be a factor at all in this.
Right then, so we are going to be going on the formation lap and seeing what tyres people go on to. So, obviously, LRB, he qualified on the medium, so he's going to have to start on them. Everyone out inside the top 10, everyone else has qualified on the softs. We've got Joey on the softs, Carmentalis on the mediums, Welsh Maldonado, she is on the soft. Yes, it's a she. We've got our only girl in the event. Nice to see the females represented in this event as well. Great to have her on board. Maledictus is on the mediums. J. Cole is actually racing. Hey! So, interesting to see how he does in 15th. Not the best of qualifying. Well, of course, he invalidated quite early on. That's why he's down there in 15th. We've got Cad in 16th on the mediums. And Hugh Gardner has also opted for the medium tyres. Now, the ones like J. Cole, Joey, and Welsh Maldonado, they want to get past the medium runners very quickly because otherwise their soft strategy won't be the best.
Oh, and speaking of Joey, just gone on board with him. I thought I saw someone's name pop up at the bottom saying they left the session, and it looks like he has left the session.
So that is not good. Hopefully he could rejoin the session, because otherwise there will be another driver that will be scoring 0 points for this race. So, yeah, it has come to this point in the event where few people would miss their stints because they're tired or something like that. And just a quick note on who's missing their stints. Obviously, Olive LaBelle's team, they won't be scoring any points. He's fallen asleep. VSR Jordan for Barrera Corrales, they won't be scoring any points. ERT won't be scoring any points today in this race because their driver's missing. And obviously now with Joey disconnecting, I don't know what team he's in for Schlipfingers, their team won't be scoring any points either as we are about to get started for the race. Well, hopefully we are. It's a bit of a long haul, but we're about to get underway anyway. A few changing positions. Here we go. The 5 red lights are coming on your screen. Alpha Mac on pole. Ash Best is alongside. And we are underway. Let's see who's going to get the better start off the line. It is Ash Best who gets a better run into turn 1. Sam Corby actually has a better run than the other Ferrari as they all make their winding way through turn 2. Now we've got the Hash driver going side by side with the Alfa Romeo driver 2. B. Walker's had a good start actually. Up into P4. Carmenta's also made a few positions on the mediums. Up into 10th position, and poor start from LRB actually on the mediums, dropped down to 11th place, but it's a bit of a risky strategy starting on the mediums even though he wants to be on the softer tyre towards the end of the race. We've got a spinner, that is a vapor car I believe of Gemrick. He is now dropped into last place, so not ideal for him, but clean start from everybody else. And obviously Joey has fallen down to the back of the order because he has unfortunately disconnected, but I think he can still rejoin. If he rejoins and does the rest of the race, they will score points. Meanwhile, the two AlphaTauri boys are fighting into the hairpin at turn 10. We got Mr. Jaco and from XL and Maledictus from QBR just going or at it at the moment. LRB is just in the middle at this right now, and Jaco would really want to get past these guys very, very quickly on those soft tyres, but it's going to be very, very hard to do so, as Ash Best is already pulling away quite rapidly so far. B Morgan actually pulling away from the likes of Gustav right now, and Alpha Mutic didn't have the best of starts after starting pole, but he's in third. But he's a team that's going to be scoring double points, as Jaco almost had a bit of a moment there going towards turn 3 there, but he kept it steady at the moment. Pretty clean start, and the driver, Team Speed Esports, who started last, up into 15th place, so he's gained quite a few positions off the start.
Yeah, good start there as we got Noisy around. Noisy has fallen down the order and he's lost it in, I believe, turns 6 and 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so unfortunately Noisy, who was scoring quite well in a few races, unfortunately was dropping down, and luckily Jerry has joined the session, so hopefully for Jerry's team, they will be able to get some points again, which will be good news for all of us. Some more teams will be scoring points. So we got the AlphaTauri driver trying to defend off, who was it? Cad, actually. Yep, it is Cad, down in 13th, and J. Cole keeping his head cool at the moment, up in 12th position, as Noisy has had a bit of a moment again. He's been passed by Gemrix. I wonder if Noisy's got some front wind damage. He does not, actually, so he is still keeping going, but I wonder if he's got some side pod damage or anything like that, but it is reduced damage, so they won't, I think, have that much damage at the moment. So they are pushing it quite a lot more than they normally would, obviously due to the reduced damage. It is for charity, after all. Hopefully everybody is doing well. The deltas have disappeared on my screen, which is not helpful whatsoever, so I can't see who's close enough, but I think Sam is still within touching distance of Ash Best. Of course, both of them raced against each other in PSGL last week in Brazil, with Ash Best having his final
Gustav down the inside of B Morgan
PSGL, as Gustav got past Morgan. Yep, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, Gustav there with a nice old lunge down the inside there on B Morgan into the hairpin. Gets to move down and has DRS to pull away as well, so Gustav trying to get clear of the man in the Haas right now.
Yeah, Gustav doing a good job in the Alfa Romeo car as it stands. We had a fifth spinner. We had a spinner, that is Morgan, who started quite high up, now down into 13th place. We're seeing a whole race of attrition right now from B Morgan. He's on the softs as well, so his tyres are going to be hot as anything. I don't think there's any damage though, so he can potentially carry on. And don't forget, we are back to the normal 2-stop rule now, so the drivers will have to complete their 2 stops. I think there was one race where one team has forgot. Apart from that, everyone has managed to remember the 2-stop rule for the entire thing, which I have to say, fair play to everybody. So forget USA, that was a 1-stop race. Now from then on, it is a 2-stop race now, for those of you that are new to the 24-hour event, as Ecos has got past B Morgan actually, up to P13 so far. Few position changes at the moment. We've got Welsh Maldonado, she's up 5th positions. Cad is up 6 positions as he's got past. Oh, that was an LRB spun. I wonder if there's a bit of a tap from him and Cad. I'm not entirely sure. Didn't caught much of that, but Cad is up to 10th because of that. Commentating has had a brilliant race so far. He must be loving the cockpit more than the commentary box at the moment. He said he's much better in the commentary box. Well, you better stick to racing a lot more as well, because he's up into 4th place. He's good at everything. I kind of wish I was good at everything in the commentary box and the cockpit, but unfortunately not. That's why I'm not racing in this event. So we've got another spinner, and our first victim of the Waller Champions is Joey, and he'll have to limp it into the pits, unfortunately. So we've got a few drivers already made their first stops. I need to see who it was. Ecos has made their stop, and obviously we've got Jerry that's made their stop as well. Not ideal for those two, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are only on lap 5 of 35, definitely a long way to go, especially for those that have already had a spin this early on. It's not the end of the race. You can keep plugging along, and may be able to capitalise on other people making mistakes later on.
Yes, indeed. So we're seeing if anyone is close enough to a battle. Maybe Jayco is trying to get past the esports compatriot of Welsh Bernardo. Loving the name that she's actually picked, by the way, for this as well. We've got Manadit is also in this as well, so we could have a 3-car DRS train, and we've got to change for the lead. Sam Corby has got past Ash Best, and he's in into P1. Brilliant job from Sam Corby's team at the moment. I need to check what team he is in as well. More moves being made in the field. How the two Mercedes boys are fighting for position. LRB just got past Newgarden there, up to P11. Welsh Bernardo, she's got a 3-second time penalty to her name, so Sam Corby is driving for the Absolute Units, which I have to say, the Absolute Units are having a very good race so far, and actually a very good event. Actually, Sam Corby has won a lot of races in his 24 hours as well, so it shows you can rely on him. But Ash Best would want to fight back, I am sure, because I know that he's competitive and he is a good racer as well. Ash Best racing for Bottle Job Racing. Well, he's not bottling it at the moment, so I don't know why they're calling themselves Bottle Job Racing, but you know, he's quite quick. He's got a lot of ERS to use, as well as Sam. They're managing the ERS very, very well. And we've got ADRT Bottle on the back of Car Mentalist. Car Mentalist on the mediums though, so I would expect Car Mentalist to pull away just a little bit more. The tyres will start to drop off from the soft runners very, very soon. Bottle has been using a lot of VRS, so he's been defending from Terra Racer behind and trying to attack from Car Mentalist in front. Not working quite well, but he's going to probably want to go on the undercut strategy very, very soon as well. As expect the first lot of drivers to pit, I think within a lap or two, I would say.
Yeah, I expect the first group of drivers to be diving into the pits very, very soon. It's interesting right now, with the DRS being activated, I thought we'd be seeing a few more overtakes, but everyone seems to be around that 9/10 gap away from each other, not close enough to make the move.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see a race where they're just falling into a rhythm as it stands. I think the only battles that we're seeing is in the midfield pack with the likes of Jacob, with the likes of Welsh Bernardo, and the likes with Cad as well. So that's very, very good to see. And with some people already making their first stops, like Ecos, for example, with no fault of their own, as we've got a 5-second penalty for Sam for speeding in the pit lane. That's going to cost him in his second stop, and that is going to be advantage Ash Best in their second stops as well. So Sam will come out in front, but Ash Best will have a huge advantage in the final pit stop. So Sam and Ash Best go onto the medium, so does Gustav and Terra Race by the looks of things. Yes, they do. All going onto the medium tyres.
Alp now into the net race lead, sorry. Made that undercut work, and he's ahead now of Sam.
Yeah, nicely done as well, but don't forget Alpha has got to make those mediums last for just a little bit longer than everybody else because he pitted quite early, but I could just check how long the mediums last actually around this track. 19 laps. So it is doable for the Ferrari driver of Ecos, and still got a point to prove. And don't forget, oh, that was close from the Ferrari driver, but if he wins the race, he will score a maximum of 50 points because it is their double point race in Canada, and I have to say they picked a good race for it at the moment. Again, a bit of a slide going through turn 10. That will probably be advantage Sam, and Jaco is going for a move past Welsh Bernardo. They're going to be going side by side just before the hairpin as Jaco makes his first stop. So does ADRT Bottle as well for Has Bottle Beans. Has Beans, sorry, not Has Bottle Beans. I've been combining names, which is not ideal, but we got Jacob, Bottle and Bernardo in together, so I think we're going to see a fight between all three of them for 10th position at the moment, and they will jump a few positions obviously due to people yet to make their first stop. Car Mentalist being the lead medium runner as well, 3.6 seconds clear of Maledictus at the moment. Cavudi or Cad in third position right now, and obviously Alpha being your race leader, but Sam catching him in a rate of knots, and he's got DRS as well. He's 2 tenths closing in. He's going to be catching up in the next DRS zone. I think that he could get the other Ferrari driver into the hairpin there. So there he goes. He's got plenty of DRS to use, but he's not using it. So let's see how they take the hairpin line. Both of them taking the same line. So that will allow Sam to catch up. Don't forget Sam with that 5-second penalty. Alpha Muck has got a penalty as well, so they're pretty much even Stevens. Sam Corby to the left-hand side he goes. A DRS overtake for him, and Sam is now your race leader. Net race leader.
Yep, very good move there from Sam, getting a nice run out of the hairpin. Really launched himself onto that attack. Unfortunately for the man sitting in third right now, Ash Best, he kind of needs to get within this 1 second window of Alp ahead so that he can just kind of get towed along a little bit. 'Cause the longer he stays out of the DRS range, the further he's going to fall away.
Yes, he is. I think that him being behind Sam Corby in the pit stops did not help him whatsoever. But it was a really interesting fight between these two as well. But if you just get caught up in the pit stops, it's not ideal at all. And don't forget, with the pit stops, you won't know what other team compatriot is doing. So don't forget, they're not all in the same team and the same teammates. There's one driver per team, so you're not going to know if they're going to be double stacking or not as well. So you just got to plan your strategies effectively. Luckily, there's drivers that are at different pace levels anyway, so that's a bit more ideal. But for some drivers, they're pretty much even on pace, just like these two Ferraris. And Cab Reese's part, lets the two Ferrari pass, which I have to say, you have to pick your own battles sometimes. And with Cad being a bit slower than these two Ferraris, he didn't want to be held up by Cavoli, so Cad has just let those two through, and they're just going to carry on with the fight for the lead as Alpha Muck, still within 3/10 of Sam. He's going to have the DRS now of Alpha Muck in the next few corners. So will we see an overtake very, very soon? Meanwhile, B Morgan has just got past the other half of Noisy up into P14. Two of them have made their first stop. Sorry, it is early in the morning. I only got 4 hours sleep, bear with me. Welsh Maldonado has got another 3-second time penalty. Time penalties will become a thing, I think, going into the middle of this race. I saw it in Mexico earlier on last night, where we saw, I think, only 2 drivers who are picking up no penalties. So I think expect to see the same here today as Ash Best gets past Cad up into 5th place. He's now in a net third of this race, and we're seeing Welsh Maldonado getting past Newgarden. She's up into P12 at the moment, but Welsh Maldonado has made a stop. Newgarden has not made a stop, so it was a crucial move that the Esports Wales driver needed to do to get past the Team Speed Esports driver.
Yeah, and she could have Terror Racer here with DRS, and absolutely breezes past with DRS down that main back straight there, and up into P11 now for Welsh Maldonado.
Yeah, so almost in the top 10, but she has got a penalty looming under her head. So if she wants to catch up to J. Cole, I think she was in a similar situation to what Ash Best was. She was closing up to J. Cole before the pit stops, but now, due to the fact the pit stops playing a factor, she's a little bit behind at the moment on those mediums, and I think J. Cole's doing a little bit better. But we'll see how far this race is going to go. Will they stretch their medium stints and go on to the softs at the end, or will they be going on to another medium stint? I think I would say around about lap 20, I would say, would be the next pit stops for a majority of the drivers that are starting on the softs and went on to the medium compound of tyres. I would expect the medium runners who have just started on them to probably pit around about now for a set of the medium tyres. Is Commentator's going to be thinking about it? Nope, he is not. But meanwhile, Sam has crucially got past Maledictus, and it's up into P2 of this race. And we've got Gustav who's having a battle with LRB actually into turn 12, and obviously LRB into the pit. So Gustav did not need to challenge that, but at least Gustav is now upper place due to more people making their pit stops.
Yeah, and I don't know what's happened with Alp. Dropped massively off Cowboy and fallen right into the clutches now of Ash Best.
Yeah, I think Ash Best is literally actually catching up to this now, and Alphamut, obviously he pitted earlier than everybody else, so I wonder if the tyres are starting to wear out a little bit as well, and probably he's regretted pitting when he did, or maybe it was because of that spin earlier that's probably compromised his strategy a little bit. And to be honest, you made your bed, now you have to lie on it, and it's not good for your double points race. Only one double points race today for this race anyway, and that is for the Ecos guy in 4th position. So if he stays in 4th position at the end of this race, well, you get whatever points you score for 4th place plus doubled as well. There's still a few more teams yet to do their double points race. We'll find out very soon who will be doing that, if anyone will go for that. We've seen quite a few people bottle their double points race, which is not ideal, but we've shown last night and a bit this morning as well that if you do score well and have a good race, then you can benefit from it. So there's still hope for people yet to do their double point race, as we've got Ash Best still catching up to Alphabet. Anyone else on a battle? Not quite. I think they're within that 6/10 range at the moment, but meanwhile J. Cole has got past the lap car of Joey. I think Joey disconnected again. I think he did. So Welsh Maldonado breezed past J. Cole. So no, Welsh Maldonado breezed past Joey, sorry, excuse me, as Maldonado's now up into the top 10, which is good stuff for her. I think I have to say Esports Wales, I have to say, is having a much better event compared to last year, doing an incredible job, getting some good results recently so far, especially into the morning as well. And obviously you do choose your best drivers for the best event, and she's doing a cracking job there so far, as Alphabet gets past Maledictus crucially. Now it is Ash Best's turn to get past Maledictus as well, but it is easier said than done. Let's see what Ash Best in the Alpine for Bottle Job Racing can do. Could this be a breeze? Yes, it is a breeze for Ash Best up into P4.
Yeah, Ash wasting no time whatsoever. As J. Cole there picks up a 3-second time penalty, so oh, actually, he's around. He's around.
Oh, he is? Mr. Bottle Job himself, who's been awake since the very start, bless him, since 1 p.m, and is still up. He's bottled it. In the Wall of Champions. Ah, Jack. Ah, well, he's got a long break after this, so at least he could just chill after this, because yeah, he's down in 14th now. And has he got damage? I'm looking at his car. I think he got away with that.
He may have a bit of damage, just not visible to us.
Yeah, we may just have the minor front wing damage, which is probably just like a green side of it, which sometimes could happen. Probably about 5%, 11% damage or something like that. But yeah, if it was standard damage, I'm almost certain it would have been definitely more than that. Sam is now your race leader, as Car Mentalist, who was your race leader, is in the pits. He's on, he's going to be doing 2 soft stints then. So he's going to be on for a set of the soft tyres then. So he's going to try and make it work till lap 24 to lap 26 type of area, which could work. But there he goes then. Let's see how Aidan Carter, who has been in the commentary box last night, and he did a race at Jeddah and done very, very well actually. He finished, I can't remember, he finished on the podium I believe, in Jeddah in the first race. So he's doing a good job for Team Relentless at the moment on the soft, the only driver on the soft tyres, which could make a massive difference. 4 tenths is the difference between the softs and the mediums around this track. So not much compared to other tracks, but still, you want to be on the softer tyre at this stage. But will it wear out quickly enough like we saw the other drivers on the soft do earlier? For Car Mentalist, let's hope that his tyres did not wear out.
Well, that was a perfect pit stop for Car Mentalist, coming out just ahead of ADRT Bottle there on the pit exit. He's got a nice bit of fresh air to push into on those fresh softs now, so we'll see how quickly he can close down good stuff for P5.
Yes, I think he's catching quite rapidly at the moment. We got another pit stop of Maledictus then. He's going to be going on to, I think, let's see what tyres the AlphaTauri up to. Is it going to be mediums or is it going to be softs? I do see a red striped tyre on the car, and it is soft tyres for the AlphaTauri driver. So where does Car Mentalist come out? Well, comfortably ahead. The undercut, as we forgot to mention actually, the undercut is quite powerful around this track. One of the shortest pit lane lost times on the entire event, 17 seconds. I think Zandvoort is another one which is quite short as well, which we saw whilst we were watching the race with James Head and Luke Etheridge commentating there as well. I think we saw people take advantage of the early pit stop phase there as well. So good stop, I think, from Car Mentalist, and he's way ahead of Maledictus at the moment, which could take to effect. I have to say Car Mentalist up into 5th place already due to those pit stops, and he's going to try and catch up to good stuff. Why, game, you giving me that camera angle? That is not the best, but to be honest, that's not worse than, I think, was it Spain or something like that, where we saw chase cam in the pit stop. I can't remember what race it was, but we saw a chase
Not
cam.
the chase cam.
In one of the races in the pit stop was not ideal. But anyway, we're seeing Maledictus on those fresh soft tyres, getting past Terra Racer. Is he going to make it stick? Yes, he does. On those fresh soft tyres, up to 8th position.
Yeah, but now Maledictus can go chasing after Welsh Maldonado, and just ahead of Welsh Maldonado is ADRT Bottle, about a second and a half up the road. But comment this, absolutely munching into this time between him and Gustav right now. He is really up for this P4 right now, is the relentless driver.
Yeah, he is. I think all the races that Carmentalist has been put at, he's been doing all right at the moment. And to be honest, you have to have trust in your team. Don't forget, Relentless was only formed not so long ago, actually. They're a new team as well. Even though the drivers know each other for quite a long time, it is a newly formed team. So, they've been taking part in a few events before. And obviously, they've been dominating quite a lot in League of Europe, which is the race I League race at quite a lot as well. So, Carmentalist is eating into the time of Gustav, 1.6 seconds. He is flying at the moment. We'll keep an eye on penalties, actually, for those, just in case, for those of you that are jeffing in the chat. So Sam Corby is on 5 seconds. Alphamert's on 6. Carmentalist is on 3. Bottle's on 3. Matt Welsh Maldonado's on 6. Terrace is on 3. Cad is on 6. Jayco's on 3. Noisy's on 6. And Gemrick is on 9 seconds. Everybody else I haven't mentioned is on 0 penalties to their name, which I have to say fair play to all of them as well. That could affect them by the end of the race. Newgarden made his pit stop a moment ago. He is now on to a set of the soft compounded tyres. I believe that he was the last person to make his first stop. So yes, he is. So that is everybody that's done their one stop. Just one more stop to go. We'll see the first people, I think, if they're doing 2 medium stints, going to the pits, I think at the end of lap 20, I would say. So watch out for that, unless they want to do another soft stint at the end. Ash Best, not close enough to get into Alphamut. So the Ecos driver is really doing brilliantly at the moment, but Ash Best, he's got no time penalties. Oh, the Ecos driver pitting in a lot earlier than I thought he was going to be. But he did pit earlier, obviously, for his set of mediums earlier. So he was on 15 laps. So if he can do 15 laps on the mediums, I'm sure he could do another set of laps. 15 laps on the mediums this time, so this is important for him to get this undercut. So he's on to a set of mediums till the end, so the first driver to do the 2 stop, and Gustav follows suit, and he's also going to be the other driver to do the 2 stops. So yes, 2 teams already ahead of the curve. Will this work out for them with the 17-second pit loss around this track, which obviously is quite short compared to other tracks?
Well, this isn't good for Alp at the moment. He's come out directly behind Welsh Maldonado, and obviously on the fresh rubber, you want to be in a bit of free air, and right now he's got a bit of battling to do.
Yep, he has, and I did say in a few races I've commentated in the event not to be around traffic, and I think Alphamut did not time that very well. He eventually got past, and that's going to be good news of your Ash Best and Sam if you want to go ahead of them at the moment. So. But I think Sam and Ash Best are probably going to want to do a soft stint, because I don't think they will stay out for as long as they are if they're not going for the softs. I think, I think in PSGR we've seen people do the 1 stop, soft to medium, so it can work if they pit a bit, roughly about now, I would say, for the soft for these two, because they are quick as anything, but their tyres may punch a little bit. But with a 2 stop, they could be a bit more flexible with the strategy. So we're seeing LRB getting past the Aston Martin of CAD. LRB's up into 8th position right now. A driver that's had a good qualifying. Not a strong race so far, but he is having a good comeback. He hasn't had many spins so far, which is helping him. More people doing their 2 stop. Terra Racer and TTG Noisy. So they'll be going on to a set of the mediums as well until the end of the race.
In the back of Bottle.
Yeah, we're seeing more bottles actually. Bottle, Maledictus as well. I think we saw, who was it? I think we saw another bottle up in the background, in the rear end as well. But just still loads of things happening at the moment. Maledictus, he's got to get this move done now. He's on the soft, Bottle's on Born mediums. If he does not get this move done, then he's going to get held up massively, and it won't help him in the slightest then. So Maledictus then Does he breeze past? He does. And he's going to try and close in into Carmentis now. And Carmentis, his pace is amazing. He's eating a time on Maledictus for breakfast, unfortunately. So Carmentis has gained the advantage on Maledictus. I think the undercut has worked wonders for Carmentis and not for Maledictus. I think the only way for Maledictus to be back in this race and for the fight for the podium is to pit before Carmentis. But it is hard to tell when Carmentis pit, because sometimes you do the opposite of what the other team does, and if they pit before you, then, well, you got to make your bed and lie in it, really. But that's 22 of 35. Sam Corby still leads with Ash Best in second place, Carmentis in third, Maledictus in fourth, Bottle in fifth position, and Alphamut, don't forget, has made his 2 stops already, and it's already catching up to the back of Bottle, heading towards turn 10 of the hairpin. Very, very tight hairpin that you got to make at the moment, and Alphamut could get the move done here, which he does not. Almost hit the back of Bottle, actually, which may compromise Bottle on exit a little bit here as well. But the straightlinespeed.com for Alphamut. Here he goes, up into 5th place. Yes, he does, as we got a spinner, it looks like.
Is that Terror Racer?
Terror Racer down in 13th then, so not the race he would have wanted so far, but I believe he's done his 2 stops already, so he's not going to lose that many positions. I wonder if he's got damage though. Let's ride on board with the Alfa Romeo driver. No, not any visible damage that we can see, so it's just a spin. But his tyres are not going to be good right now, so yeah, a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, and that is bad for Terry, so because he was on course to maybe get ahead of Welsh Maldonado with the undercut, or get close enough to jump Welsh Maldonado on pens. So that mistake there from Terry, so now put him on the back foot.
Yeah, indeed as well. So Gustav, I think he is catching up a little bit. He's got no penalties though, don't forget. Same with LRB as well, so they can gain massive to the guys in front, which is Welsh Maldonado and ADRT Bottle as well in front. And we've still got drivers who have yet to make their second stop. I will get the stops up again for those of you that are jeffing. So the ones who have yet to make their 2 stops are, as Maledictus has been passed by Alphamut, as the ones who have yet to make their 2 stops are Sam, Ashbeth, Carmentis, Maledictus. Bottle's just made his second stop now and he's gone into the pits. LRB, Cad, J. Cole, B. Morgan, Newgarden, Jemrick and Joey. Everybody else has done their 2 stops as Gustav gets past LRB in a Mercedes there, quite comfortably actually, into turn 1 and 2. And he's up into P7. He's also, Gustav has made 2 stops already, so that was a crucial move to get past. As, where does Bottle come out? He's come out just ahead of traffic, but he's lucky he got past them crucially, which is very important. He's now got clear air to try and catch up to Cad, who has made only 1 stop. And he's got a bit of a buffer between himself and Gustav now. But he may gain quite a few positions due to people having to make a stop still. But yeah, it was crucial that Bottle got past the traffic, which he did. Quite close though. Another yellow flag, but the yellow flag just moved out of the way. I believe Joey is a lap down, so that's probably why. As Joey is going into the pits. I think he's still left the session actually, so that's why he's still ghosted. But his AI car has remembered the 2-stop rule, luckily. As he is now onto the softs, I believe, or is it another set of mediums? It is another set of mediums for the Alpine driver, but I believe they won't be scoring any points due to Joey not being here.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm on board with LRB right now, who's playing this incredibly smart. Like, keep him with Gustav, let Gustav drag him along. So he's going to be in a much better spot after everyone makes their second pit stops. We'll see with LRB having 0 pens to his name. He's going to look to get the jump on Welsh Maldonado and may even get the jump on ADRT Bottle as well at this rate.
He would actually. He would. I think a few people would jump. Quite a few people in the pit stops, but we're going to see a mixture of strategies very, very soon as Sam Corby finally goes into the pits. But don't forget, Sam Corby does have the 5-second penalty looming, so he's got to serve that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the car is being served now, and he's going to be on the softs, and is Ash Best going to be ahead? Only just actually by not even a centimetre. That's how close it was in the pit stop. So Alphamut takes your race lead, but we got the two soft runners that are going to be absolutely flying. So without that pit stop, Sam Corby would have comfortably been ahead. I think that without that 5-second penalty, Sam Corby would have definitely been ahead, but with that speeding in the pit lane penalty has cost him a little bit. Luckily, he learned from his mistake and did not speed in this time round, because otherwise he will still have a 5-second penalty. But it is Ash Best now. There's a net P2, and he needs to get past Alphamut ASAP. Actually, he's got to be within 3 seconds of Alphamut in order to win this race, which will be a good result for Bottled Racing, as Noidi gets another 3-second time penalty. Newgarden makes his second stop of the race, so he doesn't have to worry about making any stops for the time being now, and that just leaves 1 or 2 drivers yet to make their second stops. We did see Carmentelis do his 2 stops as well. He's within 1.5 seconds behind Gustav. He's on penalties though, but he's going to hope that the likes of Maledictus does not catch up within penalty range right now, which he is doing so right now as he gets past Bottle. That is crucial, and he does get past Cad, so Maledictus up into 6th place.
Cav almost going straight into the back of Maledictus, trying to come into the pit lane. Very well done to avoid contact there from Cav, but yeah, Maledictus now been freed and looking to keep within that penalty window of Carmentelis, who's now just about outside of the DRS range of Gustav, as he just dips in now as we go through 6 and 7.
And we're already at the end of this race already. That's how quick it's flown by. We are around about almost half an hour behind schedule, so if you're wondering why we're not at Brazil yet, we are around about half an hour behind schedule. And I do believe invites have been sent out for Brazil, so if you're in the Brazil race, and you're not racing in Canada, I suggest you go into that lobby now, because we could hopefully get it started as soon as the Canada race has finished. So if you can get into that lobby as soon as you can, that will be absolutely brilliant, and that'll make our jobs a bit easier anyway, and minimise the delay a little bit, because there could be a situation where in the final few races we may have to turn formation lap off like we did last event.
Right.
So we're seeing a move there for Carmentelis. He's going to go for it. Right hand side he goes. Wow. Carmentelis gone off the track. He's gone off the track. So his hard work has been undone there for Mr. Aidan Carter. He's still in 5th position. And that was a risk that did not pay off for him at the moment. And he's now going to have to suffer another lap behind the Alfa Romeo driver. Oh my goodness. He missed his braking point, it looked like. And Aidan must be kicking himself.
Yeah, just went a little bit too hot on the brakes there, going deep, getting onto the it's not grass, is it? On
I don't know. It's early in the morning, Mike. It's hard to tell, but there's more grass and gravel around this track, I have to say. But anyway, Carmentelis is going to go for attempt number 2 on Gustav. Could it pay off this time? It's going to be very, very tight into turn 12, so he's got to get the move done now, which he does. There we go. That is what we wanted to see from Mr. Aidan Carter, up into 4th place. And could he get within Sam Corby? I doubt it, but there could be some people that make mistakes. And it stands, Alphamut is leading, but crucially, Ash Best is within that 3-second window. So as it stands, Ash Best is your net race leader, and Sam will be in P2 and Alphamut will be in P3. So Alphamut, don't forget, is on double points this race. So whatever position he finishes, he will get double points as well. As Joey Dioli drive our lap down, everybody else on the leading lap, which is great to see. And everybody has made their 2 stops, so no disqualifications there, so I'll get the tyres back up as well. As we'll see how long these drivers can withstand the pressure, because some of these drivers have been up since the very start of the event, haven't slept yet. Brave little souls. I don't know how these guys are doing it. As Sam, crucially, gets past Ash Best. Sam has no penalties to his name now due to the fact he served it in the pits, and that was very, very important that he had to do that, and he got the move down on Ash Best. I think we're going to see a ding-dong battle between these two in the final laps, and to boot, even though you don't get fastest lap point, Sam did get the fastest lap. Brilliant stuff.
Yep, and now begins the chess game between Sam and Ash Best. As they're going to be trading positions, trying to position themselves in the best place possible to try and take this win here tonight. And I think Aiden has already done enough to make sure Maledictus doesn't jump him on penalties.
He has. I think he has as well. Both Ash Best and Sam have got a 3-second time penalty. That is huge. That is huge, but I don't think it will affect them too much. And you know what? Actually, no, it won't affect them too much because Alphamut is on 6 seconds. So Sam would still be winning the race unless Gustav or Maledictus catch up to these guys, which I don't think is going to be possible with 6 laps to go of this race. But anything can happen in the 24 hours of F1, and it usually does. We have seen a few surprises this event as well. So Ash Best has got 4 more laps or so, well 5 more laps, to get past the Ferrari driver from the absolute units. I would like to see what the standings are actually and see what the teams are, because I don't know what has happened during the night whilst I've been asleep, but probably a lot has happened, and maybe the night stints were crucial in some teams getting some decent results, and obviously with some teams missing, 3 teams missing from the equation, that has hindered a few teams' chances a little bit, and that could be the reason why they lose a few positions in the championship, in the standings. And Ash Best has dropped within almost the DRS range of Sam, so I wonder if he's just trying to not get in a dirty air, which is quite costly around this track. And he's still within DRS. He's going to get within, I would say, 4/10 of Sam, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. Sam, I think, has DRS from Alphamut now. So they're within penalty range of Alphamut because he's got 6 seconds. A few people are so close to a second penalty now. Only about 3 drivers who are still in this race yet to pick up a penalty. That's Gustav, Maledictus, and LRB. We're not counting out Joey because he's disconnected.
Yeah, and honestly, LRB right now, because he's keeping it clean, he's actually not too far off jumping up into 7th here, because he's
wow,
about 4 seconds off the back of ADRT Bottle right now on those softs.
That is huge, I think, for LRB, and I think he wants to make sure he keeps it penalty free as possible, as I did see, I might be reading things wrong, that Terra Racer picked himself another penalty? Yes, he has, as Jaco is going side by side with Cad there into turn 1 and 2. Can he keep it steady late on the brakes as well? There's a bit of contact there as well, as my headset has just connected. My headset just disconnected, not ideal there. Hopefully you can hear me now, Mike. Well, luckily they were still able to hear me on stream, so luckily I didn't cut out on stream, so I'm using a different mic for the stream, so good news for that. But anyway, Jaco and Cad had a little bit of a kerfuffle there, but it was hard to tell who was at fault there with the camera angle there as well, but that was very, very close indeed, as LRB is definitely within penalty range of Bottle, maybe Welsh Marmalade, maybe Bottle as well, so that'll be good as well. So we're on lap 33 of 35, top 4 having all penalties. And look at Gustav, he's going to get P4 off of Car Mentalist at this moment in time, because Car Mentalist is on 6 seconds. Jaco, crucially, gets past Terra Racer up into 10th place, so he's going to be on for a decent result there as well. But I think the damage is done there with some of the penalties that he's got. Only 3 seconds though, so it could be worse. There's a lot of people that are on 9 seconds, so he's doing a better job than some of the drivers at the moment. And we're just down to, we are just down to 3 drivers that are yet to pick up a penalty. So yes, indeed, as Cad, is he going to the pits? Yes, he is. And there's no point for fastest lap, so he's going to be on fresh soft. So I'm guessing he got damage as Sam gets past the other Ferrari driver of Alphamut, and he's up into the lead. And LRB, no! LRB has picked up his first 3-second time penalty of the session. And
that's heartbreaking.
That means he won't stay within penalty range of Bottle now. That is frustrating. I think he's gonna jump Maldonado, almost certainly, but he's not gonna jump Bottle. That, I think all the LRB fans in the chat are gonna be crying at the moment, but there's only about 2 more laps to go, so as long as he doesn't get any more, he should still be on for a decent finish.
Yeah, absolute heartbreak for LRB, and he's just about dipped within that 3 second window of bottle as well.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks for LRB, you know, but that gives a few drivers ahead some hope, especially Bottle. So Bottle could breathe a sigh of relief there. Mentalist picks up another one. 9 seconds. That will bring Maledictus into the penalty range as well. That's going to drop down Mentalist quite a few. So even if Mentalist gets past Ash Best, then, which is not going to happen, but if he does and Ash Best bottles it, then Ash Best will still be in P3 anyway. Well, P2 because Alpha Matt has got a time penalty. But Alpha Matt is still fighting with Sam for the lead of this race, even though it's due to penalties. Terra Racer on now 12 seconds, but Jemrick has got the most penalties at the moment, 15 seconds. And Cal, I think, just picked up another one as well. Final lap of this race, you'll be pleased to know as well. Still been a pretty decent race so far, and pretty much all the drivers in this race will finish the race, apart from obviously Joey in 17th position, which is good news. No retirement so far, so keeping it calm and collected. And I don't think anyone's dangerously close to running out of fuel. Maybe Car Mentalist is on the bubble, but let's hope not. Please don't, Aiden. Don't run out of fuel. It's Ash! Ash Best has spun, and he's going to hate me in the VSR chat later as I commentators curse him about him possibly bottling it. So, sorry, Ash Best. He's probably going to have words with me at the end of the race in the VSR chat. But anyway, Sam, he's got a few more corners to go. Same with Alpha as well. As it looks like Car Mentalist is going to try and get past Ash Best, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. Sam comes across the line and he wins in Canada at around about early in the morning. Alpha Matt in second, and it's going to be a drag race to the line between Ash Best and Car Mentalist. What could have been for Ash Best, but Ash Best is still going to take P3. It could have been P2 due to penalties, but now he's down in P3. No, he's not. Gustav jumps him. We forgot about that. So Gustav is on the podium. Wow, I was not expecting that. Carmentalist dropped down to 6th. Bottle 7th. LRB 8th. Marvinado's only gone and got a top 10 in 9th position. Fair play for Esports Wales. Another good result for them. Terra Racer comes across the line in 10th, but he will drop down positions from B. Morgan and maybe J. Cole as well. Probably not. No, J. Cole in 12th position, and we're just waiting for Noisy and Cad to cross the line as Newgarden and Jemrick are at lap down. So that will be the end of the race, but what a ball from Ash Best there. He just lost it, and I think it just lost the concentration. I think Ash Best has been one of those drivers that stayed up throughout the entire event, and that's just shown, and that is gutting.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking for Ash Best, and to lose out on the podium as well by 200ths of a second, even more frustrating for him.
Yes, indeed, and look, Sam could not believe it, but of course we could believe it. Sam has won more per race in his 24 hours, and he's absolutely flying for the absolute units as well. Ecos getting second place, and more crucially, that's double points. That is double points for them, and I don't know how many points you get per second, and that is it 18? Or is it more than that? Or is it 24? I don't know how many points you get per second, but it's going to be a huge amount of points anyway for the Ecos drivers. They must be over the moon with their driver at the moment. So we've got Sam from Alpha, from Gustav, from Ash Best, Maledictus, Car Mentalist, Bottle, LRB, Welsh Malvinado, B. Morgan, your top 10, and we've got Terra Racer, J. Cole, Noisy, Cad, Newgarden, and Jemrick are your finishers, and your retirements, because they have disconnected, who's 3 laps down, is Joey. So I believe that is you done for a while. Have you got any more races?
No, I'm done now for the entire event.
You can go and sleep now, Mike. You deserve it. Thank you, Mike, for joining us in the commentary box as well. Obviously, racing as well throughout the event. We are going to be taking just a short break whilst we set up the next lobby, and I join a party with, a Discord call with our next commentator, who will be joining me, which will be Luke Etheridge for the next 2 hours as we take you through Brazil. And I can't remember what the next track is after Brazil. France, there we go. So we'll be taking you through that. A quick reminder before we go to a commercial break. well, it's not really a commercial break, but you know what I mean. Make sure you donate to Young Minds and Special Effects. That if you type in !donate, you can donate to these amazing charities. I'm not going to talk for very long, so otherwise we will be delayed in getting the lobby ready. So I'm going to hand it over to J. Cole to play some lovely music whilst we get the lobby set up. So thank you for Mike for joining me once again, and we will see you very, very shortly. We'll see you on the other side. Goodbye. Hello everybody and welcome back to the next round of the 24 hours, and we go to a circuit which I absolutely love. It has hosted many title deciders in the past, but obviously not this one. It is Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix. We had to wait for a few drivers again. A few drivers have probably fallen asleep, so that's why they're not here. So again, some teams won't be getting any points this race, and it is tough luck for them as well. So my name is Jess Ball once again, but joining me this time in the commentary box, it is not Mike Edwards. It is Mr. Luke Etheridge. Luke, how you doing?
Very well, thanks, Jess. Good morning to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone that is watching from wherever they are in the world. Hopefully, should find two cracking races to sort of start bringing this towards an end. Brazil now and France. Us two will be covering always, well, on the game and in real life. Brazil always brings in interesting action. And let's be honest, even in 2021, French Grand Prix was pretty lively.
Yes, it was, exactly. And it was built in 1940. Interlagos first hosted the Formula One World Championship in 1973. It used to be a 7.96 Interlagos layout with its bumpy track surface and insufficient safety barriers as well. But the track was resurfaced back in 2014, and we saw the Isaac Glock moment happen as well, as we're going to ride on board with someone. Let's go on board with Noisy, actually, as they make their way towards turn number one. Very, very tight, a short lap as well, so they got to nail it absolutely perfect. You should be able to go flat out through turn three, stay tight to the inside while avoiding the inside curve. Now we're going to go on to this DRS zone as they head towards turn four. A huge overtake opportunity in the race, as Noisy's already making up a few positions already in the order as they make their way past the Cedar Delago into Federer of turn six, now heading towards turn seven. A few cars have got taken out in this corner. Remember Alexander Albon and Lewis Hamilton? They were battling there, and we know what happened in that race. We saw Pierre Gasly take a surprise podium, which we do remember to this day. Now heading towards the final part of sector two, heading towards sector three. You can take this flat out, heading towards Zhengzhou, now heading towards the final few corners, cutting in P5 at the moment. He's not invalidated so far, so it looks like a tidy lap from him. He's going to come across the line. He's going to take the shortest run by the looks of things. Who's going to get pole position? It's going to be Rita currently with a 106.8. That is a good one-shot quali lap, but it is Noisy in 8th position with a 107.434. It would be someone that would be starting last, but I don't think he's here. So it was meant to be. Let me just have a look if I could just scroll up. Come on, scroll up. It's not letting me scroll up. It's meant to be Tic Tac and so, but I don't think they're here. So I don't think anyone's starting last, but we did see someone get disqualified, so it might be them. It might be someone replacing them at last minute. I'm not sure, but it is Risa that will be starting on pole position. I believe that's for Nordic e-racing.
Yeah, great lap by TDB as well. He's starting in second place, and they're on with double points as well for this race, and it was meant to be Aspect for Tic Tac and Co, so they were meant to be starting last, and accidentally or conveniently, they've managed to miss that. Great qualifying by Matthew Alder as well, 9th place. He will be starting on the medium tyres, but of course, as you know from all the races you've already seen, it is a compulsory two-stop strategy.
Yes, it is as well, so we'll quickly run through the rest of the grid. We've got Joe in Techno, we've got Fury, Mikutsi, Corella, LRB. Gareth Hall is making his debut in the cockpit. He was in the commentary box yesterday, but now he's making his appearance in the race seat as well. Best of luck to him. He was meant to race in Spain, but unfortunately due to lobby errors, we couldn't get him in, but luckily he is in for Brazil, which is great news. So we are looking at the pit lane at the moment, and tyre strategy is going to be two softs, I'm almost certain, for today's Brazilian Grand Prix. Softs for 12 laps, means for 13 laps, softs for 11 laps, but knowing with the strategies the drivers have went on, they could go even slightly earlier than that, or even start on the mediums and do two soft stints and just prolong them a little bit as well. Softs could last 16 laps, mediums could last 19 laps, hards could last a whopping 24 laps. But again, you don't really want to be touching it at this moment in time. And the last win was Lewis Hamilton, who went from last on the grid in the sprint race, and he went on to win the overall race a day later as well. Will we see someone go from last to first here? We don't know, but we'll see what could do. And we just see Mr. Hoggard there just donated £60 towards one of the charities. So Daniel, thank you very much. A big welcome to the stream, my friend. And Daka will be commentating later on. I believe will be the stint after us in After France. So keep an eye out on him as we are going to check the formation and keep an eye on the tyres. As we've got, obviously, Matthew Older on the mediums inside the top 10. Outside the top 10, we've got a mixed bag, haven't we? Fury and Makutsi on the mediums, as well as Cad and Morgan. And then we've got Korea, LRB, and Gareth on the soft. So they're going for the aggressive strategy outside the top 10. But some good results showing at the moment. A few surprises out there. Welsh Maldonado, she qualified in P4 in Brazil. I have to say, that's pretty decent from her.
Yeah, fantastic lap by Welsh Maldonado, getting into fourth position. Of course, Pasta was known for occasionally being pretty good in qualifying. Got pole at the Spanish Grand Prix, I think Singapore and Belgium as well in 2012. That crazy season, probably even crazier than the 2021 season, if we're being perfectly honest. Great qualifying from her. Good job for the Esports Wales team. TDB, very good qualifying from him, again on double points for this race. So this is a good chance for WR Risa's taking an interesting line on the formation lap. That is not what you want to be doing, son, to dirty up your tyres just before you get to the start of the race. But he has got that one down towards turn one, and a very awkward grid here, of course, with the way the grid falls down at the back of the grid and then you're going uphill at the front. Can make it a bit more awkward to get a good start. Should be a very interesting race, this one.
Yes, it should. 36 laps away our drivers and no safety cars. A dry race, compulsory two-stop. What could possibly go wrong for these drivers? Don't forget, there's about 3 teams in there that are not going to be scoring any points. That is Tic Tac and Co. And I'm trying to see who else. There's also Elite Racing Team as well that won't be scoring any points. And Barrere Corrals for the second race in a row won't be scoring any points because Tim Wenting has fallen asleep again. So that's the theme for Barrere Corrals in this event. All their drivers seem to be falling asleep in the wheel, so they couldn't be able to race. So a bit unfortunate, but it is time to go racing then. Here in Brazil, the 5 red lights are coming on your screen right now. Here we go. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are underway. Who gets a better getaway? It is Risa heading towards turn 1. TDB has dropped down a little bit, but he's got Tin Can for company trying to get past into turn 1, into the centre S's. Everyone has made it good so far. Ecos Matt has got a good start as well, going side by side into turn 3 with Welsh Maldonado. Brilliant start from him. Great move. Matthew Older already up into 6th place from 9th positions. He's absolutely flying on those medium tyres so far. It's like he's on the soft tyres, but instead he's on the medium compounded tyres. Not Noisy and Joel trying to go side by side into turn 6. Couldn't quite work the house driver going off the road almost, and getting a switch back into turn 7. Oh, this is very, very tight stuff from all the drivers. Few people dropping positions, but a few people gaining, in particular Matthew Older as well. Fury's dropped down a few places as well, down to 11, but pretty clean start from all the drivers. I don't think anyone got damaged there, Luke.
Yeah, pretty clean first lap, actually, to be honest. Quite surprising. Got to say, brilliant start by Matthew Older on that set of the medium tyres. Gaining 3 positions. Biggest winner on the first lap. Biggest loser was Speedless and just an absolutely dreadful getaway, unfortunately for him, was down to 10th place, even before we got down towards turn number 1. So a bit of a bad start. All looks pretty standard, though, up at the front of the field. No one really looking massively close to anyone at this moment in time. LRB, though, is going to go for a move on his fresh softs. Down the inside of El Fiore. The Relentless man's trying to hold on to this position. Relentless still, of course, challenging for the overall championship. We will hopefully get some live championship standings for you shortly. They've lost another position there. That is LRB up into 11th.
Yeah, that is crucial for LRB, but not as crucial for Fury. They needed to gain as many positions as they can because they saw how good Car Mentalist was in the last race in Canada. So I'm sure they want to keep that momentum going so far. But no one has obviously opted to go into the pits nice and early. I think a big lap 4, lap 5 would possibly be the earliest time people go into the pits. I wonder if some people would go off the mediums early and go onto some soft tyres so they could be on some faster tyres for the majority of the race. But if you want a pad around here, I can speak from experience by jeffing someone around here in a League of Europe race. The soft tyres don't last a lot. I think it starts to wear pretty much around about 11 laps, whereas on the wheel it can last a bit longer, obviously. So if you're on a pad, you're probably going to be screwed around here. Matthew Older again is going to make another position, this time on Welsh Maldonado. This should be an easy move for the Alpine driver from, I can't remember what team it is. It's either Ball Job Racing or Fingers, I can't remember what. As Matthew Older had a bit of a moment coming through the centre as he made contact with Welsh Maldonado, and he's also got Mr. Louis Dupont, Kryptonite, as we all know him as he tries to get past him into turn 4, as he's going to try and go the long way round, is he? Nope, he does not. And I'm almost certain that Matthew Older does not want to take Kryptonite out because obviously he's in charge of the stewarding at PSGR. Well, he's not in charge of the stewarding here, but I have to say, Louis doing a good job this event so far, and he's doing a great job in this race 2 into P6 for now. But Matthew Older, he's got one thing on his mind. He wants to win this race, and with the pace he's showing, he can still do it.
Yeah, a bit unlucky for the Alpines there. Welsh Maldonado just kept a wheel on the inside. That tipped Matthew Older around, and then it was Jovi PSV for Shipswingers who got just caught up in all of that as well, so he's dropped towards the back of the field. Kryptonite, yeah, he had good pace in the race. I commentated on him earlier on last night, of course, around Zandvoort. He did pretty well there, and he's got a decent run here on Matthew Older. Doesn't look like it's going to be close enough to go for the move, and that little spin around from Matthew could prove to be really costly because it has dropped him outside of the DRS range of the front 4, and they're all fairly spaced out in that front 4. We're not really seeing any move, so it's all looking like it's going to calm down. I think you're right, Jess. First pit stops, we'll see some drivers, especially those that are stuck in a train, maybe go for an aggressive soft strategy, maybe coming into the pits round about lap 8.
Yeah, I would see so as well. I think they want to be on the mediums as little as possible, so probably Matthew Older will be one of those drivers that will be going for the aggressive undercut strategy, as he's now 2.7 seconds behind Ecos Max, which I have to say, after a strong double points race, they want to carry on that momentum and get potentially another podium, as Brandon Speedless has got a brilliant move there with Noisy going side by side there into a corner. You don't necessarily feel like he was going to go for a move there, but brilliant job so far. After that poor start, he's almost back up to where he started in 8th position, so brilliant stuff from him. Good recovery drive from Brandon in a Mercedes for Team Speed Esports, and I'm sure he wants to carry on that trend, as he's now going to try and catch up to Welsh Maldonado for Esports Wales as they head towards turn number 1. He's got brilliant straight line speed actually heading towards turn number 1, but I'm almost certain he wants to stay behind for DRS. Meanwhile, Jackson Courier, I think, has lost a few positions, and we already got our first pit stop from Joey then, down in 17th position, and he's probably going to go onto the mediums nice and early then. But here comes Brandon. Did he get past Welsh Maldonado? He does not. He stays behind. He stays in P7. Great cracking defending from the Esports Wales lady. I was going to call man, but she's not a man, she's a lady, in 7th position.
She's a lady. It's a Tom Jones song, that one, isn't it?
Yes,
anyway,
it is.
moving on from that, Gareth and Correa were having a fantastic battle in the background, and Michalitsky managed to get past Correa. Gareth tried to follow through. In the end, was unable to do so. So he's now down into 14th, but they were side by side pretty much for the first sector as Correa sent one.
Wow.
Down the inside at Bico de Pato there on Michalitsky. Looks like he's got the move done as well, so that is Correa now back up into 12. But all this battling, you can just see how much time it has cost them. I think further up the field, we could see another move here. Speedless Anne is within DRS range of Welsh Maldonado. She's not got any DRS to defend with. This is going to be very straightforward for the Mercedes man, for the Team Speed Esports. He's back up into 7th.
There we go. So I think he only needs to gain one more place, and then he's back to where he started, which I have to say, oh, it's Louis has had a bit of a spun, and there we go, right on cue. Brandon's just gained a position. There we go. That was not meant to happen, I promise. And Louis probably going to hate me for it. But anyway, Kryptonite is down into 9th place now, and he is struggling on those softs. It's softs that's so hot, especially the rear end at this moment in time. So I wonder if Louis will probably go and dive it into the pits at the moment. Has Noisy tried to get past Welsh Maldonado at the moment. I wonder if she's struggling on the tyre, whereas Noisy is up into 10th position and is now trying to catch up to the Mercedes driver. Another yellow flag. That is, I think, for one of the Aston Martins. That might be CAD, actually. Yeah, it could be CAD, actually. But speaking of the leader, Reset is still pulling a 8-10 gap to TGB in P2. Don't forget, Vapor's got their... TDB's got their double points race, I believe, as Brandon has picked up the first time penalty of the session, 3 seconds. And I wonder if there's going to be a car swamp for, I would say, P6. Brandon has been pressured into a move, and he's dropped not 1, 2, but 3 places now. He was in 6th. He's now back down to 9th.
Yeah, I think it was running through Magulio. He got a penalty. That put him offline coming through Young Sao. Went over the grass and didn't really have a chance there. And he's going to lose another position because here comes Louis Dupont. Here comes Kryptonite straight down the inside. He gets that moved on. And Welsh Maldonado is going to go all the way around the outside at the Tito de Largo. Great move from the Esports Wales driver. She's now up into 6th place. I still think Matthew Alder's in a good position though. He's on his own. He's just been able to use those medium tyres. He's still lost out a bit of time from earlier. He's about 3.5 seconds behind now, the car in front, but you would expect him to start gaining that gap. No offence to the top 4 drivers. He is generally a quicker driver than them, and he's probably now on the better set of tyres. So watch out for Matthew Alder as this race goes on.
Yes, and he's a more experienced driver as well, been in PSGO F1 for goodness knows how many seasons as well. And, he is a driver that started on a pad, became really, really good, become the pad GOAT, and then he went on the wheel, he struggled a little bit, and now he's really starting to come into his own since going onto a wheel, and he's back to his old self, which is great to see, as LRB's having a fight with Noisy once again. But here comes LRB and Welsh Maldonado this time, heading towards turn 1, down the inside, before the centre exit, and can he make the move stick? Yes, he can. LRB up to 6th, Noisy up into 7th position. Maldonado has dropped into 8th position. I think Kryptonite could get Welsh Maldonado in at 2 at the Cine de Largo, potentially. Nope, he could not. He stays behind. This is a huge DRS train from P6 to P9, well, P10 actually now, as Brandon almost caught up to Kryptonite there, as Kryptonite had a bit of a moment there trying to get past Welsh Maldonado, but we're only seeing a few overtaking spots at this moment in time. We are seeing people go for brave moves before Jung Sao. We saw Brandon do that earlier on, which I have to say was fair play to him, and we saw people go for moves here too, so it is quite tight. But Kryptonite, I'm almost certain, I think some of these drivers just got a pick. They're stuck in that sandwich, they're stuck in that dirty air, and that could hinder your pace right away. So we'll see the top runners will go into the pits. Nope, they do not. TGB stays out. Yeah, none of the top 4 are thinking about pitting. They're on the class of their own at this moment in time, and they're going to try and break away from the rest of the field as Kryptonite does get past Welsh Maldonado as Welsh goes into the pits for her first stop.
Yeah, first pit stop, lap number 8 then coming in. That's going to be medium tyres possibly on both stints now going on that Red Bull for the end of the race. I think Maldonado might have gone for a bit more of a strategy with some more straight line speed, to be honest. Looked like she was struggling out some of the corners, but got a fantastic run down the Retta Aposta, down the back straight, and it was actually, she made a slight mistake coming through Decido de Largo, and that meant Kryptonite almost went straight into the back of her, and that's what gave Speedless Anne that run on the Ferrari driver for the absolute units. But it's been a pretty calm race so far, as you sometimes get on F1 games. First few laps are pretty calm, and then it all kicks off towards the end of the race. We're about quarter of distance, and it is still Visa leading by 0.8 of a second. So very similar with ERS to TDB as well. Suggests sort of got TDB's number at this moment in time. Tinkan and Mats, though, are saving a bit of ERS. So I wonder if they get themselves some free air, they'll definitely be blasting through their electrical energy, maybe before they come into the pits, as we see Risa and Tinkan then do head into the pits this time around.
Yeah, they'll be going on to the mediums as well. They'll probably be doing 2 medium stints, or maybe go aggressive and do 2 soft stints. You never know, but that allows TGB and Ecourse Maps, they got to have the best in-lap they can really, because otherwise the undercut would be more powerful. More people outside of that leading bunch also go into the pits. That's Noisy and LRB2, so they're on their first stop. So don't forget, if you do not do the 2 stops here, you will be disqualified, as one team found out earlier on late at night actually. One team found out that they forgot to do the 2 stop, probably because they forgot, personally, even though they were quite on it for the whole event. They just forgot, and it could happen. There's some times where I almost forgot, and I had to be reminded to do the 2 stop. Hungary was one of those races in, I think it was F1 2019, where I almost forgot and someone just told me to pit. I was like, all right, I'll pit. So I think we can start to see a few more people forgetting as it gets to the crunch end, the business end of this championship. We will know very soon who will be the winners of that championship. I think we'll see a few tired souls. There will be a few people that will be doing races because other people can't be bothered. So TDB goes into the pits for his first stop. Matt follows him in as well. Obviously Matthew Older on those medium tyres will be prolonging his stint because he wants to do 2 soft stints until the end of the race. So that just leaves Kryptonite, one of the only soft runners to come in into the pits. Brandon for Team Speed Esports also goes in. Gav Hall also goes in as well. We'll see where that leads in relation to the rivals, as Risa still is leading the way. Tinkan actually jumps TDB in the pits. Maybe it's going to be tight, heading towards the scene of Delago as Tin Can. Yeah, he does jump TDB there, so that undercut worked wonders for the XL man. The XL man doing a great job, actually, in this race. P2, as Cad has gone for a bit of a spin and hit the wall just after turn 5.
Yeah, I think it was actually Reese going through at the exit of turn 5. They both made contact, and Cav did a fantastic job trying to hold the car. Unfortunately, wasn't able to and just tapped the wall ever so slightly. It is only on reduced damage. I do wonder if that Aston Martin does have a bit of damage, though, on its front wing. So TDB, or Tin Can, sorry, used quite a bit of ERS, I think, on that outlap just to try and stretch that gap. Managed to make the jump on TDB, but he's now outside of DRS range of WR Risa. So this is a great chance for Risa to just try and pull away, to try and extend his lead, because he's not only got to worry about the drivers who've already made a pit stop, also got to worry about Matthew Older, as TDB has got that place back using the DRS. That is the Williams back into a net second place. Only the top 5 drivers and Cav yet to stop at this moment in time, but I think we will be seeing Cav come into the pits on this lap to possibly change that front wing.
Yeah, I think he would as well, and he does. So he'll be getting his first stops out of the way, so it is not over yet. That is the beauty of the 2-stop race. You can pretty much be not out of the woods yet and still get some decent points, as Cad actually goes onto the soft compounded tyre, so he's going to be going very, very aggressive right now. Interestingly, that Louis has been saying on those softs since the start of the race there, does Kryptonite, but knowing that he's got a plan strategy, he's probably got the method to his madness, but we'll see if it pays off for the absolute units. Car in second place at the moment. Matthew Older still leads the way at the moment, but they're still yet to make their first stop. The top 5 yet to pit. Everybody else down below from 6th place downwards has stopped. And as Kryptonite, I was just talking about Kryptonite, he comes in onto a set of, I think, the medium tyres, and then he'll do a soft stint at the end. Pharrell Fury will now inherit P2, as TGB is doing brilliantly so far to try and catch up to Tin Can at the moment. And he set the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, Reese has been held up quite a lot on that lap by Michalitsky. They might both be in the Alfa Romeo, but they are for individual teams, of course. And importantly for Reese, he's going to have to send one down the inside of Tecido Delago here. I thought he might have been a bit too far back behind Morgan, but no, he isn't. Great move by the Alfa Romeo man for Nordic Esports. He's got ahead of Morgan, and that is crucial, because he could try to pull away through this middle sector where it is pretty much going to be single file, unless TDB goes for a very brave move, possibly into Pico de Bato, of course, where we saw Hamilton and Albon have that spin in 2019. Otherwise, he's going to lose a lot of time behind the Haas driver for the rest of this, for the next few corners here. And you can already see here, Risa just started to pull away. He's nearly got that gap up to a second already over TDB. Well, in fact, you can see it now ticks over to a second between Risa and Morgan. So he's able to gain a tiny bit out of all of that. 12.5 seconds behind Matthew Older at this moment in time. So when Matthew pits, expect him to come out behind Ecos, Matt.
Yeah, I think so as well. And he's going to be incredibly fast on those soft tyres, Matthew Older. So do watch out, because they are a second quicker than the mediums. So Morgan and Mikutsi comes in, and that will settle your order. And that will mean, I think, just Matthew and Fury to make their first stops, and then that'll be everybody doing their stops after that. So Morgan and Mikutsi onto a set of soft tyres at the moment. So they will be doing 2 soft stints as well. So 3 drivers are on the soft compounded tyres, and that jumps a few people up the order as much they would have liked at this stage. Lap 14 of 36. Matt is still on the back of these drivers now. If any of these 2 drivers make a mistake, that could be a recipe for a masterclass for Ecos Matt. So I have to say, it's been a big improvement from the last event for Ecos Matt, doing an absolutely brilliant job in the Ferrari car for the Ecos team. And they've already used their double points, but surely they want a good result here as well, as Matthew Older goes into the pits for the absolute unit. And no, not the absolute unit, Bottle Job Racing. I'm getting confused between the teams, but yeah, Matthew Older for Bottle Job Racing comes into the pits, and he's on for the soft compound of tyres, and he's going to be insanely quick towards the end. Watch out for him, he's definitely a contender for the race win. Pharrell Fury is also in the pits for Team Relentless, I believe, and Pharrell Fury is dropping way down the order for staying out too long. Matthew Older was able to benefit for the massive gap these had. Meanwhile, watching Rita and TDB battle for the race lead now. They're actually now your race leaders, and Rita has been leading since the very start. He's been controlling the race since the very start, but he's going to have the threat from the Alpine driver very soon, so Rita has got to pull a gap. We do have a yellow flag, and that is, I believe, a Haas driver of Noisy. So Noisy has had a bit of a moment heading into, I think it's, I don't know what corner it is. I think it's just after turn 4, I believe. So, yeah, unfortunate for Noisy. Down to P13, and that is Lazan that gets past Noisy up into 12th position. More time penalties for some of the drivers as well, so not ideal, but let's see if TDB could get the move done on Rita now as we head towards lap 15. We'll think about some drivers pitting for their second stop very, very soon, but not quite yet, as TDB goes for the inside line on Rita, now cuts to the outside into turn 1, and TDB, perfectly timed there, is now your race leader, and that is very, very crucial for them because Vapor Esports are on their double points race.
Yeah, they are on the double points race, and as you may have seen in the chat, we have now got what the standings were after Canada, but this is before any stewards' inquiries. The absolute units, 348 points. Relentless on 318, Nordic E Racing have just seen Risa drop down to second. They are third on 270 points, so this is still a good race for them. QBR have 237, and Bottle Job Racing with Matthew Alder on 234. Vapor Esports currently 11th on 204 points, but double points in this race, and you've got to say Vapor TDB at the moment, you'd say he's looking pretty good to get a podium. The only driver on the alternate strategy who's really looking as though he's going to be able to get involved in this is Matthew Alder. The others are quite a long way back, so expect this to be a big points race for TDB and Risa and Bottle Job Racing as well. We'll see what Excel and Ecos can do. TDB's definitely pushed quite a lot on this lap, I think. He used a bit more ERS just to try and see if he can keep Risa behind him for that one extra lap, and you can see him really cut into the left-hand side there just to try and break the toe. It may have worked for the run down towards Centre S. He could come under some pressure though into Decido de Largo. As you can see, the pace there, fastest lap of the race from Matthew Alder, 108.608, 7/10 of a second faster than what we've seen anyone else do. He is really pushing hard at the moment. He might find himself getting stuck in a DRS train.
Yes, he would. I think a lot of drivers will be stuck in a DRS train as well, as Matthew Alder's now within 2 seconds, as we're seeing drivers in the background, in towards the rear end of the field, making moves as well. We saw Ferrer Fury on those soft tyres trying to get past the likes of Maldonado and Jax Correa, but past Tessina de Largo, Jax in the AlphaTauri almost got past Welsh Maldonado, but she is fighting back into turn 6. Can she defend for her life? Yes, she can. And she stays in PA. I have to say, brilliant defending from her. I have to say, I can't even do that heading towards turn 6. So that is pure commitment from the Esports Welsh driver. But don't forget, she's got penalties, whereas Jay Courier has got no penalties. So they will probably be jumping on positions anyway. The Relentless driver as well. Crucial that they get positions due to the Teams Championship at this stage. 2 temps now behind the medium runners. That is going to be key as Rita and Vapor going for the lead of this race. Rita gets the move done into turn 1. Matthew Alder gets past Ecos Matt up into 4th place, and now crucially is within this DRS train. Matthew Alder now is going to be one hand on the winning trophy for this race if he keeps this up into the Largo on the left hand side. Nicely done from the Ball Job Racing driver, and he's up into P3 and is now on the hunt for the race win now.
Yeah, he's doing an absolutely fantastic job. I mean, just look at the pace he's got coming through Ferrajora. So much more down the inside on TDB, who, just left one car width. And Matthew Alder said, thank you very much. I will take that position. And that is how you do that. Very nicely done from him. Further back, Correa and Ferrell Fury still battling. The Relentless man determined to try and get past the AlphaTauri. Just can't quite manage to do it. At this moment in time, he's run a bit deep, running through Pinarino, and this might be the chance that the McLaren for Relentless needs to get down the inside into Pico de Pato, and Correa still trying to hang it off round the outside. Bit of contact, wheel banging between the two, but Fury was fully alongside there, so very nicely done. And here comes Matthew Alder straight down into the lead of this race. You should expect him to now just pull away, similar to what we've seen Duncan do earlier on, where he's just had the pure pace, getting into the top 10 on those medium tyres, proving to be absolutely crucial for Matthew Alder. He's got the pace, he's got the fresher tyres. He'll probably be a second ahead by the end of this lap.
Yeah, don't forget Duncan has won, I believe, 2 races in this 24 hours, and he's got one more race to go in Bahrain later, which is going to be very exciting for him, so best of luck as well. We've still got some more drivers still yet to run, of course, who yet to do their final stints, as Ralph Fury gets past Welsh Maldonado into turn 4 there, and he's up into PA there. Quite crucially, and is now on the same strategy as Cat is out the race. There's no points for Neverlast Racing today. Well, they're going to be last in this race because they DNF'd, unfortunately. So no points for them, and we're now down to only 16 runners that could get points in this race. But a few people could jump people on penalties. People got to watch out for the yellow flag in sector 1. Matthew Older already breaking the DRS between himself and Reza, which is not good news for Reza, but good news if you're the likes of TDB and Tin Can and want to get the podium off of them, as well as Tim Mats as well. Louis, though, is not winning DRS, but could be the cork in the bottle later on if any of those drivers make a mistake. So it'll be interesting to see. LRB is also within Kryptonite as well, but LRB has got a time penalty. B. Morgan is getting past Welsh Maldonado before turn 1, and yeah, he's up into 9th place. Brilliant job from him, but again, the soft runners are calling their way through the field ever so slowly, but could see I would expect him to get past Korea very, very soon, as well as Gareth Hall just got past Joey there, up into P14.
Yeah, Joey, of course, who had to pit earlier on. He's going to try and fight back here down the inside, down towards Decido de Largo. He's got the inside line, but under his 14-lap-old medium tyres, he won't want to be going too much longer. Gets that position done. He's back into 14th place. And yeah, we're starting to see Joey struggle. We're starting to see Welsh Maldonado struggle. Of course, she was the first driver to do a conventional strategy to pit onto the medium tyres, going quite a bit earlier than some of the others. Perhaps the setup just meaning that she is wearing through her tyres a bit harder than everyone else. Matthew Alder now with a 2-second lead, and Risa still staying comfortably ahead of TDB. I wonder if he made a slight mistake earlier on, and that is what we saw was TDB managed to get ahead for Vapor Esports, because he's not really been able to get too close to a pass since then, as we've got a yellow flag. I think that is Noisy, who is around again, but TTG, man, just struggling ever so slightly at this moment.
Yep, he is, which is a bit unfortunate right now, down in 16th. But to finish first, you first have to finish, and that 16th place still gets you a whole chunk of points anyway. So keep going, Noisy, and it would help you in your team in the championship. So as it stands then, Matthew Older leads the race, Risa in second, TDB in third position. And an update on the stops, because I know a few people were asking that. Nobody has done their 2 stops yet. Everybody that's still in this race has only done 1 stop. So they have 1 more stop to make. All these drivers who will be making the stop first. And we're seeing Joey and Gav going for me once again. I have to say, they've been battling throughout the whole race into turn 6. But Joey keeps it covered. He does have another 3-second time penalty added to his tally, which is not going to help him. It's good news for Gav, though, because Gav has got no 3-second time penalties to worry about. So he's going to jump quite a few people in this race at the moment. So I'm looking at the tyre life for the soft tyres. They could last 16 laps around here, so they could pit around about from now to go onto the soft tyres. There's a few people thinking about it. No one is thinking about it right now. If I was people near the back towards the back of the field, I would think about it for that cheeky undercut, but probably not if you're near the front, because you're probably in a battle. But Tin Can is just hanging in there at the moment for P2 of this race, and I just need to check penalties again. Neither of the top 4 are on time penalties right now, so this is 4th position. TDB has got, I think, much better traction than Reza in this lap. I wonder if Reza's struggling a little bit. I wonder if the tyres are starting to set in a bit more as well. 18, 19 laps these mediums could last for, but the tyre degradation is quite interesting on this track compared to the last game. I think it's a lot harder than I've raced in previous games as well, so they've got to be more conservative, some of these drivers as well. But will we see some of these drivers dive into the pits? Well, only one way to find out. We will see. I doubt it. I think they're going to give it a few more laps. We've got a 10-second time penalty for Gareth Ford for corner cut in there. For going the right way, I doubt. I think it will get that removed unless he has to serve it in the pits. I don't know, but I did not see that. But that just looked a bit unfair to me, as we do have our first second stopper, and that is Louis Dupont going on the soft tyres, I believe.
Yeah, it's a bit early, maybe, so we might even see the yellow wall tyres here. Just trying to see which ones it is. And no, it is red tyres for the Scarlet Red Ferrari. So Kryptonite clearly going a bit aggressive here, trying to get some pace, because he was sort of in no man's land, unfortunately, for him. I think we'll start seeing maybe this lap or next lap drivers start to come in more for a set of soft tyres towards the end. Maybe Tin Can trying to pull that undercut again. Maybe even TDB trying to do it. But at this moment in time, if they pit, they're going to come out in a right train behind Michalitsky, Correa and Welsh Maldonado. So I'm sure they'll be hoping that those drivers get out of the way soon. They've got to play this tactic really well. I don't know if they've got any engineers, but it could be quite interesting to see how things go for this race. TDB's got closer the last couple of times to the back of Risa, coming into Decido de Largo, coming into turn number 4, but he can't get close enough through Young Sao to maybe have a go into the centre S, which is really where you want to be thinking about getting your moves done. None of the front 5 drivers are coming into the pits, and we'll see if LRB wants to come in as well, whether he's going to dive into the pits, and I think he is, so he's clearly reacting to what Kryptonite has done. LRB into the pits, and he will be on a set of soft tyres until the end of the race.
Yeah, let's watch where Kryptonite is on the track, because that'd be key as to where LRB will come out in this race. So Kryptonite is going towards the final corner, as LRB is also going to be going on into the soft tyres as well. Marvinado has dropped a few positions as by Makutsi and Korea there into turn 3 past the Teneresa to Cena de Largo. They're going to go side by side into turn 4. Makutsi was harvesting a little bit there on the ERS. They're going to go almost off the track like Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen did back this year, and Welsh Maldonado almost took advantage of both of these drivers there and almost got past one of the drivers, one of the Alfa Romeo drivers, but she has decided to stay back. Can he get the move done? Well, can she get the move done into turn 7 and 8? A bit of a touch there from the Red Bull driver to the Alfa Romeo driver, but no harm done because it is on reduced damage. Kryptonite, crucially, due to that undercut, has got ahead of LRB, so he's 1.7 seconds ahead, as Tinkan is one of the first of the leaders to make their final stop of the race. Then for the soft tyres, they're going to be incredibly faster than the likes of Kryptonite and LRB, so I'm sure he would not have a problem with that. There he goes then onto the soft tyres. I wonder if any of the top 4 will think about pitting after the likes of Tinkan and Fury coming in. A few more people are making their 2 stops now. I think from about P5 all the way down to, I would say, P12, 13 making their 2 stops now, up to Brandon in a Mercedes car as well, all going on the red soft tyres. So that is the common tyre to be on. I'm looking at Matthew Older's fuel light. This is not looking promising. He's on the yellow warning light, and that does suggest that he could run out of fuel at the end of the race.
Quite a bit of aggressive short shifting as well, coming through Magulio at about 10,000 RPM, and see coming out of Young Sao as well. We're only really starting to get up to the green-red RPM lights as well on the telemetry, so he's going quite early on his short shifting here. Clearly going to have to do some fuel saving, but he's got a fairly comfortable lead. I'd say he might be able to do so. And maybe that's why. Maybe he wasn't expecting to be in the lead this early on. Maybe he was expecting to have to be caught in a bit of a trade, as TDB has overtaken Risa on the way into the pit lane.
That's just crazy. That is just crazy, I have to say. I haven't seen anything like it on the F1 games, but yeah, that is just incredible. So I think Risa, I don't know what happened. Is it just the game just being favourable towards TDB? I don't know, but that's allowing Tinkan. Let's see if Tinkan can get the undercut of Dreams. Yes, he does. Tinkan is up into 2nd place, and with Matthew Older having the gap that he did, he is now your race leader. But Risa must be kicking himself at this moment in time, as Makutsi is up into P10 of this race, as Welsh Maldonado has now dropped down into P12 as he just pitted as well. And I believe with everyone on the soft tyres, as everyone that's done their 2 stops, yes, everyone has done their 2 stops, pretty much most of them in quick succession, with Louis being the first driver to Brett. So it's now a straight run to the finish. Then it's going to be Matthew Older versus Tinkan for the race win, but Matthew Older, with the rate of knots he's pulling away, it could be the race win for him. But I think I'm just a bit worried about his fuel. If Matthew Older runs out of fuel on the line, it could be Tinkan versus TDB for the win.
Yeah, definitely. I think TDB was just a bit braver on the brakes, to be honest, coming into the pit lane. It is a bit of a tricky pit entry here, so maybe he's just sent it a bit more and been able to take what is now 3rd position. But you can see he's all over the back of Tinkan, both of them with a healthy amount of ERS though, so that might just help Tinkan stay ahead on the run down to Decido de Largo. In the end though, he's not decided to bother defending the move. Down the inside goes TDB. He takes 2nd place. Risa, unable to follow through, was leading for quite a while in this race. He's now going to have some fighting to do to get a podium here for the Nordic racing team, as Noisy now picks up a time penalty. Got to say, the top 6 have done very well, keeping it clean. Bottom 6 all with penalties, 7th and 8th with penalties as well, but top 6 and for Alfiore and Correa not with any penalties either, which might help them gain a position. Michalitsky's gone down the inside of Welsh Maldonado. The Alfa Romeo and Red Bull have been battling for quite a while, so that is a swap for 11th and 12th position. Matthew Older though, he's got a 5-second lead. Surely he can afford to do some short shifting here, do a bit of lifting and coasting, and save some fuel and secure this win for Bottle Jobs Racing, because it would be the ultimate Bottle Job if he ends up running out of fuel on the final lap.
Yeah, we saw Ash Best doing a huge bottle in Canada, of course, and I think we're seeing Matthew Older gonna be absolutely short-shifting for his life. But meanwhile, Rita and TDB are fighting for P2, which could ultimately be the race winning. Matthew Older wants out of fuel. Rita is gonna try and attack to the inside of the Cena de Largo, but couldn't quite make it work on the inside there as Rita stays in P3. This is a three-way car fight, which I've never saw coming right now. They're absolutely pushing it. Equals Matt is not winning this fight, unfortunately, so he's not going to be able to push for his life, unfortunately, but you never know. He could be on for top 4 finish if Matthew Older runs out of fuel as well. Don't forget, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers who have picked up penalties, and they could affect things very badly for them as Welsh Maldonado gets past the Alfa Romeo driver once again. They're probably going to be switching positions for quite a while up into P11 then. So we'll watch for Rita and TDB for another time then, as Rita's going to have another attempt to try and get past the Williams driver. Obviously Williams and Alfa were fighting for P8 in the constructors in real life, but where they're going to end up in this race, and it looks like the Alfa Romeo driver is ahead for now, as Rita, who started pulling this race, is up into P2, but I think the damage is undone with Matthew Older pulling up a 6.2 second gap over Rita at this moment in time. Here comes TDB on the Cena de Largo. He could not get it done, unfortunately. Neither can Tin Can. This is absolutely insane from these guys. And we're watching Pharrell Fury then, battling with B. Morgan for P8. And I think he's a bit too further back to get the move at the moment, as he's trying to defend there quite nicely, does the Haas driver. Fury has a little bit of space, but he decides to not go for the move. And you can see B. Morgan harvesting there as well. So it could have been an opportunity, but he didn't want to go for that risk.
Yeah, not able to do so. Maldonado's picked up another time penalty, so that's a bit costly for her. She is now on 6 seconds of penalty, so that will drop her behind Michalitsky at the end of the race, and also mean even if she does catch up to Correa, who's just picked up her first 3 seconds, they do have a penalty. Well, we've got Schnitzel. That's an old name for my first commentary days. He's actually watching from Korea, so hope you are doing well, friend. Hope you're enjoying the action. 7 laps to go here, and Matthew Older now with a 6 second lead. Surely this is the time where you start, if he's getting any engineering, just tell him to calm things down, just bring it home at the moment, but you do not want to interrupt that natural rhythm. Of course, Tin Can just sort of hanging back behind Risa and TDB, and also what we haven't talked about is Matt. He's dropped outside of the DRS range, and he's used up quite a lot of his ERS as well, so I can't see him getting any higher than 5th place. Michalitsky and Welsh Maldonado at it again through the ZRS. These two riding some absolutely fantastic racing. They might be able to catch up to Correa as well and make it a three-way battle.
Yeah, this could be absolutely insane between these two as well. Here comes Welsh Maldonado again towards the Cena de Largo. She goes round the outside, and that was perfectly timed from her up to P11. She's doing incredible so far. So is Makutsi as well. I thought Makutsi was going to get a move on her into turn 6 there, but didn't quite work out for him, as I have to say. This could go on and on and on. We're already on lap 30 of 36, and for those of you that are wondering why we haven't started the next race yet, we're around about half an hour behind schedule, so just bear that in mind as well, and hopefully we'll get France started very shortly just after Brazil, and hopefully there'll be a few people that will do their driver swap very, very quickly indeed. But may have a change for P2 here. TDB has got the ERS to use, he's got the ZRS over Risa, but again just can't get parts into the Cena de Largo, unfortunately. Same with Tin Can. Maybe they've got a lot saved in the tank for the final few laps. I'm almost certain Tin Can has. He's got the best DRS out of all of them.
Yeah, certainly, but third man in a DRS train, it is so difficult. Of course, when you're third person in the train, to try and get these moves done. It is a team that is winning at the moment, is the Absolute Unit with Kryptonite. They are more than a race win ahead coming into this race, depending on any stewards' decisions, as Michalitsky and Welsh Maldonado still swapping around through the Cena de Largo. I think they're actually now starting to hold each other up rather than catching up to Correa, so they're still fighting for 11th and 12th. It's going to be hard for Tin Can. He's got a lot of ERS, but he's third man in the DRS trade. TDB's just running out slightly of ERS here, but he's fairly close to the back of Risa. He might be able to get a move done into the ZRS here. Risa not feeling the need to really go defensive. TDB deciding to just wait it out. Surprised he didn't send one down the inside there.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised as well, but he doesn't want to take too many risks. Vapor is on their double points race as well, so the more risks they take, the more opportunity it could be to disaster. So I think Vapor's going to give it everything, maybe on lap 35, I would say as well. But it may be too little too late with the likes of Tin Can also pushing as well. But we know with DRS trains around Brazil, the longer it gets, the harder it is to overtake. And the only person who's going to overtake is the guy in the middle of the DRS train, TDB in this case as well. But the dirty air, again, is just not helping him in the slightest. Gap now between Matthew Walder and Rita, 5.1 seconds. And is Matthew Walder still on the yellow warning light? Unfortunately for the Board Job Racing fans, he is on the yellow warning light. And if you're wondering what that is, the yellow warning light is if the driver will have less than a lap of fuel remaining, well, a litre of fuel remaining going into the end of this race. And that will mean they will run out of fuel on the line as we got another retirement. That is Joey down in P15, and oh, that was close. Luckily, Ghosting is on. Has Noisy almost got caught out of that and spun, and he's almost hit the wall. And how did he avoid that? I do not know, but he's down into P15 for now, as Rita is actually starting to push on those soft tyres because he's got plenty of fuel, whereas Matthew Alder does not. So Rita is already taking advantage of that. Nordic E-Racing, a team that wants to close in on Team Relentless in the standings, and they're doing a great job of doing that with Relentless at the moment. Kai sitting in 9th place in this race, but Relentless got no penalties in this race to their name. Neither has the top 6. Anything could happen in this race. 3 or 4 laps to go, and it's just a waiting game for some of these drivers. And let us know in the chat, will Matthew Alder actually come across the line with fuel in this race, or will he run out? Just let us know in the chat. I hope he does. I hope he does. It may just be 0.01 laps of fuel he has in the car, probably. I think that's what he's done.
Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty close at the moment. Well, to him making it towards the end of the race, you can see he's been closed in by Visa, but with 4 laps to go, 3 laps to go even, he's 4.3 seconds ahead of Visa. He's got less ERS as well, so it's not like he can use the electrical energy to boost himself out of the corner. So Matthew Alder's just going to have to be very careful here. Is a blizzard. He definitely could get a bit of an icy reception from his team if he ends up running out of fuel on the final lap of this race. And we're starting to see further back why TDB sort of just sent it into the centre S. That was his one opportunity. He's not really been able to get close enough since, and this is a double points race, of course, for Vapor Esports, the team that is currently 11th in the standings and not too far behind ERT and IFR as well, and Excel, even pretty within range of Ecos and Olympico. So this could have been a fantastic chance to possibly even push themselves into the top 6 of the championship. They might still be able to do so as Pharrell Fury gets down the inside of B. Morgan. Relentless just trying to limit the damage here to the Absolute units, who are looking good to extend their championship lead with Kryptonite in 6th position. 2 laps to go. 3.8 seconds is now the gap at the front of the field, and it looks like Visa has got TDB's number for 2nd.
Yeah, definitely, and I have to say a few people are going to be jumping the championship, because don't forget ERT have missed the last 2 races, and I think both of them were due to people missing their alarms, unfortunately, which does happen with these 24-hour events as well. It can be done, unfortunately, and they didn't have any replacements, so if TDB gets past Risa, that could be huge in terms of the team standings. 5 tenths is the gap now. Again, he can't get past. He only has 2 laps to do it. This could be on for the race win here if Matthew Olser crucially runs out of fuel. So this is going to be very, very tense if you're either a Nordic E-Racing fan, a Vapor fan, or an XL fan, believe it or not, as well as XL, I believe, has dropped behind TDB a bit more now. He's lost a bit of time, but maybe he's just playing the game where if a few people, we got someone that's disconnected from the session, that's Team Speed Esports man and Brandon. He is disconnected, unfortunately, so he doesn't go back. But at the end of this race, they won't be scoring any points either. So there'll be another team not to score any points, which is not ideal. But we're heading towards the final lap of this race. It is Matthew Alder versus Reza versus TDB versus Tin Can for the race win. I don't think anyone else is close enough for that race victory, unfortunately, as Reza, he's just on fire at the moment. He's got plenty of ERS. He's got plenty of race pace at this moment in time. So I think he could be the favourite at the moment, and we can see the red light on Matthew Alder is flashing. So I'm just dreading this at the moment. He could just run out of fuel any time, and he's in 8th gear at the moment. He's doing fine at the moment, but it's either going to be Matthew Alder or Risa for the race win, and he may just do it, but I don't know. I don't know at this stage.
Last time around, a few times that yellow light did stop flashing, so I think he's pretty much saved enough fuel here, so I think he should be fine. I mean, Reese is going to obviously just try and push all the way to the flag. You can see he's got that gap down to 2.3 seconds, so that's another penalty for Welsh Maldonado's Speedless Hand's AI cars coming to the pits here, so even if they aren't going to get any points by the looks of things, unfortunately, for them, as I don't think he'll be able to rejoin the lobby, but it looks like Matthew Alder has called it absolutely beautifully, so he comes round Young South for the final time.
Here he goes then. Let's see if he's going to have enough fuel to get to the end. Apparently, according to Alpha, it's minus 0.01. So I had a feeling it was going to be close. Does he win the race? He does win the race. Wow, that was a bit too close for comfort there for the Bulldog Racing fans. But he timed that. I think he started quite low down as well in ninth. And it is in P1. Reza in P2. TDB will score double points in P3. Tin Can in fourth. Matt in P5. Kryptonite has a good result there for the absolute units in P6. LRB in P7. And we got Relentless in P8. He comes across the line there as well. And then we got Morgan in 9th. Jax in P10. Then we got Makuti in 11th. Welsh Maldonado for Team Speed Esports in P12. Gareth in P13. Team Speed Esports won't be scoring any points now because Brandon has retired. As Gareth will be coming across the line on probably will jump. Brandon anyway he does. And he's also run out of fuel. Gareth is the first person to run out of fuel, but it doesn't matter because everybody else is a lap down.
Yeah, great race, I must say, by quite a few drivers there. Plenty of battling throughout the midfield, but Matthew Alder, driver of the day, I don't think we're that surprised. By that result, even after qualifying, when he managed to keep it nice and clean and get into the top 10 on that set of the medium tyre. So that's a good result for Bottle Job Racing as well. Just allows them to close in. I think they've probably overtaken now QVR in the championship, so they'll be up into 4th place. But it is the absolute units with Kryptonite still extending their championship lead.
Indeed, as I have to say, this could get very, very tight towards the end of this championship. So if you are still racing in those teams, and you've got a lot of work to do to make sure you bring the championship home over to your team. So here we go. Now let's go through the results then. Matthew Alder wins from Reza, from TDB, from Tin Can, from Matt, from Kryptonite, from LRB, Pharrell Fury, B Morgan, Jay Courier in 10th. Then we got Makuti, Marvinado, Gav Hall. There are your finishers, and your retirements are Speedless and Noisy, Joey and Cad. So only 4 retirements there, and obviously 3 teams have not showed up due to them falling asleep. So since it's just us 2 again for the next round, we're going to blabble on a little bit. And the next race is France. And I believe we commentated on France last event as well, which was quite crazy, I have to say, as well. We got quite a few more driver changes compared to, obviously, Brazil. So we're going to wait for a few drivers. So let's see who is still in this lobby that is racing in France. We've got TDB, who are racing this in Brazil, is racing in France as well. Same with Jerry as well. Kryptonite is also racing again as well, so they're doing a double stint. Pretty much everybody else is doing a driver's for every other team, so hopefully Barrett Corrales will show up very, very soon as well, fingers crossed. And there's a few teams that are missing, so we'll probably need to go and send some invites to, I think, Tic Tac and Co, ERT, and I don't know who else was missing in the last lobby from their team, so we'll try and invite those two as well. But France, a different track to Brazil as well, but a track that provided some good strategies in real life with Sergio Perez helping out Verstappen there quite a lot.
Yeah, certainly, of course. Sergio Perez did a great job around France, but not quite as good as the job as he did around Abu Dhabi, of course. But yeah, the teammates can definitely help around here. They'll be glad it's a compulsory 2-stop around France, because that final sector especially always has been a tyre killer around this circuit. I know on previous games it was always close to seeing punctures around this circuit, so that'll be good news for them. We are just trying to get a few drivers back into the lobby, of course, to try and speed things up a bit, as we are running behind ever so slightly, but hopefully it won't be too long before we do get a full lobby. And then, of course, most importantly, I've got to change the track to France.
Yeah, you do. You got to do your side of the deal, because otherwise people will be confused. Oh, it's not Brazil, it's France. But there we go. So just a quick plug of our donations then, to make sure you get donating to either our 2 charities, that is Special Effects and Young Minds. For Young Minds, we're on 8, I think, is it 8 or 6? I can't even read the stream. I may have to get the link up myself, but I'll need to get the link up myself. I'll just give me a second whilst we do that as well. But I could definitely read what's on special effects. We're on £588 and 72 pence. So we're already over £1,000 raised so far in this event, which I have to say is absolutely crazy as well, as we're already on 18. I think we're doing a lot better compared to the last lobby, but we'll check to make sure. So if you are waiting to join the lobby, make sure that your teammate invites you to the lobby, and if you can't, just let us know and we'll try and sneak you an invite, of course. We'll try and read a few stories from some of the charities from Special Effect that people had affected as well, but in few names I recognise as well, including one commentator who got slightly drunk before he handed over to me. It was Nolan in a McLaren, and he's actually doing the final race commentary in Abu Dhabi with James Head, because obviously unfortunately Matthias Van Erben, the esports driver, can't make it, so Nolan will be replacing him instead. But for now, Nolan is in the racing seat for Team Relentless, so we'll see how he does around France.
Yeah, certainly. We'll have to see how that goes. I can tell you, everyone should have an invite now, and we are just waiting on one more driver. So hopefully it won't be too long. We are trying to get things back on time at the moment. So yeah, I think Nolan was actually drunk before he started the commentary. Never mind afterwards. So yeah, hopefully he's sobered up ever so slightly, because I'm not sure I'd want to be driving around. I'm not sure I want to drive around France when I'm sober, to be honest. Never mind when I'm hungover.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm glad that I'm not the one that's racing around this track, because it's very, very difficult indeed. So a few notes to mention about this track. The team that will be starting last will be VOR Nithos, and who is racing in that car? It is TTG Noisy that will be the person that will be starting last. It was meant to be Waffles racing, but they did switch last minute, and it is Noisy that will be racing. So no double points in France, unfortunately. So no one will be getting the double points. It's just a standard points you get for wherever you finish, and the double points won't be back until around about the China race, the penultimate round of the event, and there'll be still 4 teams yet to do their double pointers. That is XL, QVR, Ball Job Racing, and Schlickfingers will be doing their double points around China. Everyone else has done their double points already. Who are we waiting for? I don't even know who we're waiting for. So if you know who you are, if you're not in the lobby, get in the lobby. And I've just noticed there is someone who is quite dominant around France in this lobby and did quite well in Australia that could give Matthew Older a run for his money. And if you're one of the drivers racing, you're probably dreading that this person in the lobby. Silly Sly Guy is back for one more time.
Yeah, Silly Sly Guy's back. I think we've got a driver in this lobby who I'm not sure he's meant to be in, if we're being perfectly honest, at this moment in time. For not sure which team it is, but IFR. Just trying to see who's in for IFR at the moment, because I'm hearing that Tom Robbo might actually be asleep, and their driver has, I think, just stayed in the lobby while they're maybe waiting for them to, Tom to wait. God, but we have got all 20 driver, it looks like, so we might be getting away in the not too distant future.
Hopefully, so we'll have to wait and see, but IFR will probably be complaining if we ready up, so I don't think we'll be readying up yet at this moment in time, so we will just double check. Tom Robbo probably is fallen asleep. Is he online on Discord? I doubt it. Nope, he is not, so it may be that whoever's in for IFR will have to be racing for another race in a track that they probably hate, but we will see, of course. Whilst we do that, but a few information you would like to know about this circuit. It's played host to many Formula 1 tracks for the French Grand Prix since 1906. It returned in the French Grand Prix in 2018 at Circuit Paul Ricard. It was first used in Formula 1, this track, back in 1971, and we do know there's a huge lot of runoff areas and it's quite understeery parts of the track, but we do know it can provide some great overtaking opportunities. It was used as a testing facility all those years ago as well. It still is in the midway point of the season, and also is used in WEC and in endurance races as well. So quite an interesting part of the racetrack, and the track is 15 turns, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we have how many laps? We have 27 laps so far. So if the IFR boys could get themselves sorted, we will be good to go. As I'm just trying to see if they're coming. Doesn't look like it. But just bear with us, guys. Hopefully we can get started soon.
Yeah, I think what is happening here is we've actually seen a very last-minute change from Bottle Job Racing. They're keeping Matthew Alder in instead of Z Freakster, which might turn out to be a very good move indeed. I think a lot of people would have expected Silly Sly Guy to be the favourite going into this race. That might not be the case now if Matthew is racing. We're just waiting to see if LRB is going to be allowed to race in place of Tom Robbo, because that one may count as a change, unfortunately. So we might actually see LRB leaving the lobby shortly.
Yeah, I think LRB would probably not want to do that, and I'm just a bit worried that IFR probably used those changes already, and if they have, they're not allowed to change anymore, and that means they could lose out on a point. So we're just seeing a lot of people tagging Tom Robbo in the chat as he's meant to be racing, and I'm just seeing if there's any stewards reports for the last couple of hours. Not at the moment. The stewards have been looking quite intently at this stage, and quite a few drivers have missed their stints this morning. Quite a few people. Ollie Flavel missed his stint around Canada, which was a bit unfortunate. But he's here now in the Williams. He is back. So thank goodness he woke up in time for one of the races, at least for him as well. So best of luck to him. I haven't commentated him in a while. He was a commentator back in the day for PSGL as well. And Silly Sly Guy's going to try and save the day in calling his phone, because they know each other quite well as well, and I'm just seeing some funny banter going on in the drivers' chat. It's incredibly crazy at the moment. But I was going to read a story, but I think by the time I start reading a story, someone could join the lobby, so I probably won't do so at the moment. But thank you to everyone that has donated so far. Thank you to everybody that's been in the chat. 59 viewers so far at this moment in time, and the next round after France will be, is it Bahrain after France? I can't remember. It could be, yes, it is Bahrain. That'll be Car Mentalist and Daka taking you through the action at 9:35, but it'll probably be way after that. And then after that, it'll be China with J. Cole and Dan Geit. And then it'll be the final round in Abu Dhabi with James Head and Ariel Nolan taking you through the action. And any sign of Tom Robbo in the lobby? No sign of Tom Robbo. We'll give it a couple minutes and then we'll start, because we're already so delayed as it is. So, unfortunately, unless IFR haven't used many of their driver changes, they could still get some points. But LRB is going to do a last-minute Nico Hulkenberg and go into this race with zero practice, I have to say. And I don't know. Actually, no. IFR have used their driver changes. So IFR, they'll be going into this race with no points.
Yeah, I was just quickly checking that IFR had used up all their changes, unfortunately for them, so they are out of this, so might as well be able to, hopefully, if anyone is listening, guys, start your engines, get ready to start the race.
Yeah, I think so as well, because Tom Robbo is not here, but he has got an invite though, so surely he'll be able to get into this lobby anyway during the end of qualifying, and so we haven't had a full lobby in a while, luckily, at the moment, but a few notable changes. We could go through the drivers that are racing in France. So let me just scroll right down, because it has changed since I last looked last night. So we got XL Prix for XL. We got Silly Sly Guy on for Elite Racing Team. Ariel Nolan for Team Relentless. Colin R. Mason on for Esports Wales. Burmeister on for Team Has-Beens. I think Cohen in for Bear Corrals. Humble. I think there has been a few changes since the last one. We got Noisy in for VRR Nifos, who's doing the last to first challenge. QBR Chill in for Queen Viger Racing. QBR Racing. Z3 in for Ball Job Racing. Kryptonite in again for the Absolute Units. Toshida in for Olimpo. Ollie Favel in for Tintac and Co. TDB in again for Vapor Esports. Joey in for Slip Fingers again. Rally in for Nordic E-Race. Oh, it might be Risa actually, not entirely sure. MVR Jurufu in for Neverlast Racing. And we got Speed Knighton in for Team Speed Esports. As we're about to get underway for the quali, that one-shot quali, don't forget. And we'll see who we would go on board. We won't go on board with VOR Nifos, because they'll be starting last, but we'll just find a random person to come across the grid, and it's a bit of a delay, which is not ideal, and it's probably just my PS5 being quick again, but I'm expecting Luke, Silly Sly Guy, just to be top in this, or maybe Matthew Older. It could be quite close, actually, between these two.
I wonder if they'll even think about starting on a set of the medium tyres, like we saw Matthew do last time around. Like, if you can get into the top 10 on a set of mediums, you might be sitting pretty here to take a victory. And ERT bit further down in the championship could do with it, but also Bottle Job Racing, where they're sort of getting now or never. 4 races remaining at the end of this one. We're pretty much not too far away from what could happen. No one can win the championship in this race. 3 remaining after this, and the absolute units aren't far enough ahead. But with the way things are going, you never know. They might be able to win it in the final race.
But here we go then. Let's see who we should go on board with. Let's go on board with City Sligo. We haven't actually went on board with him in a lap for a while, actually. So let's see if he could do a masterclass lap as he heads toward past turn number 2 and towards turn number 3. Watch out for track limits here, as well could play a massive factor as Noisy is doing the last to first challenge, so he'll be starting at the back of the grid then. As soon as you have turn 5 and turning in for turn 6, make sure you lift the throttle as much as you can. Light brush with that inside curve through 7. Now following the DRS straight after turn 7 it will be the turn 8 and 9. Chicane, a very, very long straight here to City Sligo. He's currently fastest at the moment. We'll see what his sector 2 time is very, very soon as they get towards turn 8 and turn 9, the double chicane as well. It is roughly about almost 170 miles per hour here as you head towards turn 10. You can leave quite heavily on the exit curve around it on the right hand side through turn 10 now. We've seen a few overtakes there in a few of the events, which is quite brave as well. Quite understeery part of the circuit, as City Sligo may have lost a bit of time. Not much time though. He hasn't invalidated so far as he heads towards turn number 12. Perhaps even more difficult to spot than of turn 11. How he hits that curve without getting invalidated is absolutely amazing so far. Now heading towards the final few corners of 10, 14 and 15. Is it going to be pole position for City Sligo? It's going to be a long run to the line, one of the longest on the calendar. How close is it going to be? It is about 4 tenths separated between City Sligo and Matthew Alder there. Brilliant stuff on the ERT man. He continuing where he left off from Australia yesterday.
Italia beating Blizzard around this circuit by a quarter of a second takes some doing, because he is known for being absolutely blistering pace around this circuit. Got pole position in the top tier of PSGL on the PlayStation platform. So definitely a fantastic lap there by Silly Sly Guy. And just look at that, about half a second between those top 2 and the rest of the field. They have been absolutely dominant. Whether they'll be like that in the race, we'll have to wait and see, because you will see a lot of penalties around this circuit. There are plenty of places where you can get it wrong on track limits, but only 2 drivers messing up in qualifying.
And with 2 drivers also having unrepresentative lap time. So we've got City Sligo from Matthew Alder, from Cohen, from Nolan, for Tashida, from Ollie Flavel, from Girofu, Colin, XL Bree, Speed Knighton, and then we got Geordie, Rally, Chill, Burmeister, TDB, Raggy, and then we got 2 people that did not set a lap time, which is Joey and Kryptonite, and obviously Noisy. His team is going to be starting from last in this race, which is not a bad thing around France. 2-stop race, like we said earlier on as well. It's likely going to be soft, medium, or medium soft for today's race by the looks of things. You'll be probably doing the mediums for 10 laps, but we've seen drivers really do different strategies here today, so we'll have to wait and see. The softs could only last, I think, around about 8 laps around here, so not very long at all. Like Singapore, you want to be on the softs very, very quickly. I may not be surprised if we see the hards for the first time in a while, but we shall see as we head towards the formation lap. Hopefully we can get this underway very, very shortly, but I think this could be a very good fight between City Sligo and Matthew Alder. Hoping that we were going to see some of the top guys fight against City Sligo, and this could be the race we could see it. I kind of wish we could see a fight between City Sligo and Duncan in one race. That would be pretty amazing, won't it? But we won't get to see it. Is City Sligo racing in Bahrain? I don't know. Let me just have a look, actually. If I can... I have to scroll up to do so, unfortunately. No, City Sligo is not racing in Bahrain, whereas Duncan is. So, but oh well, I believe it's City Sligo's final race anyway for the team, and hopefully he delivers well. Top 10 will be on the soft tyres because they qualified on them. Everyone except for Chill is on the mediums outside the top 10.
Yeah, I think we expected to see a lot of drivers running on the set of the medium tyres around here. Probably take them, like you said, maybe to around lap 10, lap 11, and then 8 laps on each of the soft stints. Those inside the top 10 might even pit a bit earlier, maybe even lap 6 or 7 to get rid of those sets of the soft tyres. Again, everyone's going to be trying to do 2 sets of softs and 1 set of mediums. Some drivers might have to use 2 sets of mediums if they are a bit heavier on the tyre wear, of course. I am really looking forward to seeing what Silly Sly Guy can do. We know he's an exceptionally quick driver. If he turns that line off, I think he's going to be someone we're going to see in the top tiers of many leagues in the future on the PlayStation and on the PC platform as well. So let's see what he can do against a man who's made his name by taking fantastic performances around this circuit. And I think everyone else is going to be fighting for that third place.
Yeah, I think so as well. Matthew Alder has won multiple times in PSGL around here. I think he's won the most around here in PSGL around France in the top tier. So he is a man that I'm actually quite shocked that Bull Job Racing did not choose this track for their double points race, because they do know that Matthew could be a god around here. So, but probably they were expecting some quicker drivers to race around here, so they probably didn't want to take their chances a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, there's still 4 more teams yet to use their double points race, and now we'll be still after this race 2 teams that have yet to start from the back of the grid. Then, as we still got not long to go until the end of the race. We've got end of this event. We've got obviously France now, and then we've got 3 more races after that. We've got Bahrain, China, and then Abu Dhabi, and that will then be the end of it as well. As we're about to get started for 27 laps, we're on the pretty much the fourth to last round of this championship, and this could be the turning point for some of the teams on whether they could be winning their title. The Absolute Units down in 18th with the invalidation from Kryptonite, so not what they want. That could be a chance for a few people to climb up their way in the standards, and this could be the race that could go well for them. The 5 red lights are on. And we are on the way. Silly Sly Guy's got a massively good start off from Matthew Alder into turn 1. Matthew Alder already behind Silly Sly Guy at the moment. The two McLarens working together. We got the Alfa Romeo almost had an almighty start, but he had a little bit of a collision from some of the drivers. A few people have been caught napping, and there's already a few spinners. As there's Aston Martin of Burmeister, what a name, who's dropped down into 19th. Colin has been caught in that as well, but TDB is trying to make his way past Noisy, and he's almost had a bit of a spin as well. A few gainers and a few losers after that. Not the cleanest of starts compared to other races, but the top 3 remain unchanged, with Silly Sly Guy in first, Matthew Alder in second, Cohen in third place, as we're seeing Reggae from Ecos trying to make not past just 1 car, but 2 cars into turn 7, and then towards turn 8, which he does quite comfortably there, and he's on the medium side up into 14th place. But Silly Sly Guy already within 4 attempts clear on Matthew Alder, and we already got our first 3-second time penalty of the session.
That's not ideal whatsoever. I won't be surprised if a few tired drivers pick up a disqualification in this race. It looks like Becca Jones has definitely done a jinx on Colin. He had a fantastic qualifying, but got involved in contact at the start of this race, battling further down with TDB and Geordie. Got to say, a brilliant start though by Kryptonite, using all of his experience. 7 places gained. He's now the lead car on the medium tyres, started 14 places behind Relentless Nolan, who are their main rivals in the championship, but he's done pretty well to get a good start to that race, as Gerafou diving down the inside of Ollie Flavel at the final corner. It's going to be a straight drag race between these two down towards turn number 1. It's going to be very close between them, but Gerafou's got the inside line for 1. Ollie Flavel, can he hold it all the way around the outside? Not quite, I don't think. He tried his best, unable to do so. He drops down to 7th and then loses it on the curb, so he's going to drop all the way down, I'd imagine, to 17th place.
Yeah, he could lose being to last place if he's not careful, but he's back on the circuit into turn 2 quite nicely then as well. But the damage is going to be undone, unfortunately. If I was Ollie, I would get your first stops out of the way, but he may have to touch the hard tyres, which you do not want to do around France, I have to say. I hate the hards around here, so nobody should be touching them at the moment, as I think a good job from Cohen actually to pull away from the relentless driver of Nolan at the moment, and he's staying in P3. He's currently the best of the rest at the moment, as we've seen with McLaren most of the time in Formula 1 this season, up until Ferrari has scored more points than them, with Ferrari finishing 3rd in the Constructors for the first time since 2019. So Ferrari on a comeback at the moment. The 2 Ferraris, though, had gained the most positions combined, with Kryptonite gaining 3, Reggae gaining 3, as were a few other notable mentions of positions. QBR Chill has gained 4 positions in the QBR car. Team Speed Esports of Pete Speed Knighton is gained 3 places as well. He's had a fantastic start as well, up into 7th place, and he's going to catch up to the Never Last Racing car as well. The top 4 have remained untouched. Even Yoshida has had a good start as well, and he's already catching up to the back of Nolan.
Yeah, great start then for Yoshida. He's doing pretty well here on the back of Nolan, who's really dropped back off of Cohen. If Cohen can stay in range of these top 3, this could be pretty good for Bear Corrals. Obviously, not in the championship hunt. They've had drivers miss a few races. Unfortunately, Tim's been busy with some other stuff, and they used all their changes. But this could be a chance to get a get a good result and prove why I think at the start many people thought they would have been one of the favourites for the championship. Matthew Alder's using a lot more ERS, completely emptied his deployment. Last time around, you are only allowed to use a certain amount on a lap, of course, and he's just standing within DRS range now of Silly Sly Guy and Cohen just outside of that. But there comes Ashida straight down past Nolan before we get to the Mistral chicane. Nice and easy for him. He is in 4th place, so that is brand news for Relentless and good news for the absolute units, of course. But Ashida's ran a bit wide, coming through the exit of the Mistral chicane. Nolan unable to fight back. We have got a yellow flag further back, and I think that's Ollie Flavel who's gone for another spin.
Yes, it is. Or it might be Joey, actually. No, but it's not Joey. Yeah, it was Joey that had a bit of a spin. Not Ollie Flavel. Luckily, it's hard to tell with the Alpines and the Williams. They are similar colours. Game, why have you done this? It just makes things a hell of a lot confusing. But there's no dominant performance at the moment between the top two. They're pretty much even on pace. I'm just looking at the ERS. Silly Sly Guy has more ERS to use compared to Matthew Alder, so I think it's an advantage to Silly Sly Guy at this moment in time. Nolan, though, he's into the pits. That is an early stop for the Relentless driver then, so he wants to get one of his first stops out the way, but he's going to have to stretch his mediums out for a very long time. So he goes on to a 7 mediums then. Will the others respond? I don't know. I think we'll probably see a few other drivers respond, I think, in the midfield, I'm almost certain. Some more yellow flags, which is probably just people coming out of the pits. TDB also comes in for his first stop as well, so he follows Nolan in. Apart from that, no one else budging, which jumps a few people up a place so far. And we're starting to see a DRS train form from XL Prix all the way down to TDT Noisy down in 11th position. Don't forget, Noisy started last. He's already up until 11th place, gained 8 spots. He's doing a terrific job at the moment, and I think we're starting to see more positions being made from Pete, it looks like, but it didn't look like he was going to get the move done there. Chill as well on the back of this as well. Don't forget, all assists are allowed in this in this as well, so obviously apart from pit assists. There are mixed skill levels, of course, but still doing a terrific job is the XL driver trying to hold up this huge train of cars, which is quite tricky. I would be in huge pressure if I was them, but luckily I'm not the one racing. Luckily I'm the one in the commentary box as Cohen picks up a time penalty, and that is good news if you're Shishida.
Yeah, it is indeed. Yellow flag further back. I think that's Jory going round again. He's really having a hard time of things at this moment. The other Alpine, though, not related with teammates, of course, but Matthew Alder doing a bit better this time. On the back of Silly Sly Guy, he's got the same amount of ERS, so maybe just that tiny bit of experience starting to come through as we've seen Cohen, Ishida and Chill come into the pits there for their respective teams. So a lot of drivers going early off that set of soft tyres. Says to me, you're going to have to go for 2 sets of mediums.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think Silly Sly Guy and Matthew Alder will potentially be doing the same thing, or I wonder if they'll be doing 2 softs. We don't know. The strategy could be quite open here at this moment in time. So where will Cohen end up in relation to the likes of Nolan that just pitted? I think it'll be pretty close, you know, as Cohen just goes ahead. So the overcut worked this time for Cohen, and Nolan's undercut did not work to perfection there. So I wonder if his out that was not very good. I wonder if his in that was not very good. I'll have to wait and see. But we do have a change for the lead. As Matthew Alder just overtaken Silly Sly Guy into turn 8. Quite nicely done. And he's your race leader. More crucially, he'll be ahead of Silly Sly Guy in the pit stop, unless Silly Sly Guy goes for the move into turn 1. We actually get to see these two going wheel to wheel for the first time. The two of them really, really good, high caliber drivers. Obviously, Matthew Alder being experienced at PSGL, and don't forget, Silly Sly Guy is also on the PC side as well, doing a great job as well. So he's on both platforms. I don't know how he manages to race on both platforms successfully. I don't know how I do it. That's why I stick to one platform on the PS4. Silly Sly Guy crucially gets the undercut on Matthew Alder. He's into the pits, but we saw that Nolan's undercut did not work quite well. Was this a finish Silly Sly Guy should have done? We don't know, but Matthew Alder knows that he has to push to make sure he stays ahead of his rival.
Yeah, Matthew, he's wise, though. He knows his own strategy. If he's planning to take those softs a bit longer, he will still do that and maybe not react to what Silly Sly Guy is doing. Silly Sly Guy very fast on the way into the pit lane, judged it to absolute perfection. I know he's been maybe putting in a bit more practice than some of these drivers. I think he wants to show that he belongs with some of the top-tier drivers, and he is definitely showing that at this moment in time, and comes out in plenty of clear air as well. A bit further back, Ishida still all over the back of Nolan, not able to make, well, Nolan, of course, making that undercut work. Now, though, he's starting to come under pressure from the AlphaTauri man, so we could see some moves there anytime soon. And further ahead, Kryptonite on the back of Speed Knight, and those mediums clearly better than the soft tyres now. He is up into second. This could be a really good race for Kryptonite. Would not be surprised if he gets in-game driver of the day by the end of it.
Yeah, don't forget he started near the back as well. Unfortunately, he invalidated his lap as well. So technically he was doing a last 2 challenge as well, but he's not quite at the back because Noisy started at the back as well. But I have to say, some stellar performances from some of the drivers that started near the back as well, like we see from majority of races so far. We've got more yellow flags. Jerry's just not having the best of times. It's not going to be that long before he's a lap down at this race. We're only on lap 6. A bit of a shame there. But as long as he keeps going, that is not a problem. As we've got Matthew Older in and TDB in again. I don't know why TDB is in. That's probably him that's probably gone for a bit of a spin then. So, crucially, Matthew Older could not afford to have a horrible pit stop. He's got to be out of the pits as quickly as he can. And Matthew Older goes on to a set of the mediums. Let's watch Silly Sly Guy then. I think Matthew Older's going to be comfortably ahead because of the undercut is too powerful. I think Silly Sly Guy maybe should have not gone for the undercut. So let's watch Matthew Older then. Actually, maybe a bit closer than we thought, actually. I thought Matthew Older would be ahead, but no. Silly Sly Guy timed that to perfection, and he's your race leader this time. Matthew Older got him on the last lap. Silly Sly Guy, with the undercut, is now ahead of him.
Yeah, I think Matthew used quite a lot of his ERS there just to try and stay within DRS range of Silly Sly Guy once he came out of the pits, because the undercut can be exceptionally powerful around this circuit. So Silly Sly Guy back into the net race lead. It is the front 5 drivers and Burmeister, the only ones that are yet to pit. Surprise Speed Knighton has gone this long. I think he is trying to stretch it to a double soft strategy here, which might put Team Speed in a good position at the end of the race if they can, of course, make some moves and get past a few cars. We'll have to wait and see how things go. Here comes Matthew Older again on the back of Silly Sly Guy. Not close enough this time around. Ishida, though, down the inside of Nolan. He's looking pretty good, and if he can stay within penalty range of Cohen, could well gain that position. And here comes Colin Mason on the back of Burmeister as well. That's a fairly straightforward move, as I think we've had a spinner up ahead. Not sure who that was. It might have just been TDB trying to get out of the way of all the cars that are ahead of him.
Yeah, I think he's a lap down now, I think. Let me just have a look. Yes, he's a lap down. So, yeah, he's trying to get away with the lapped cars then. As Pete comes in to the pit set for Team Speed, so he's going to make his first stop out of the way. And yes, I have to agree with you, Luke. I think he's going to do for the double soft strategy, which could work for him. You never know. And if it does, that could jump him up the orders. Now, Kryptonite inherits the race lead, but he's on the medium compounder tyres, which will last for a bit longer, as he's also going to try and see if he can stretch the too soft stint as well. Same with Rally, Noisy and Raggy. Your net race leader is Silly Sly Guy, but Matthew Older is just catching ever so slightly as well, which could mean anything in terms of the amount of points that they get in this championship. ERT, don't forget, missed 2 races in this stint in Canada and Brazil due to both of their drivers unfortunately sleeping through their alarms, not able to make in the race. So this is crucial for ERT to get some solid points in this race, and they can't let Matthew Older past him. So here he goes, Matthew Older with the DRS. He's got the slipstream as well on Silly Sly Guy. Can he go to the left-hand side of turn 8? He does not. Silly Sly Guy closes the door. And again, Matthew Older has to remain past the ERT driver for another lap. They're on 0 penalties at the moment. And I'm sure Matthew Older is going to be very creative with his moves. He could get a move past into turn 10 here. We've seen that many a times in PSGL go for creative moves like this as well, and could try and go the long way round, which he does not. But I have to say, it is better having these two fight for it instead of one person just dominating out in front. This is very great to see. One driver that is pretty much going to be in challenges very soon, and then we got someone who is on the cusp of getting into F1 Esports. He just needs to turn the line off.
Yeah, certainly, and maybe that could be the thing if the Sly Guy gets passed here by Matthew. Just watch him for a couple of laps, see what he's doing, and learn for the future. This is definitely going to be good experience for him at the moment. I don't think either of them were really interested then in battling that previous lap around. Just working together for now. It looks like Matthew Older's using a bit more of the curbs than Sly Guy, especially through the final sector, so that is good news. Well, suggests to me he's feeling a bit more confident maybe with some of the track limits around here. In the first stint, Sly Guy did seem to be faster earlier on, and then things just came back to Matthew as the stint went on, as we've got some fantastic battling, I think, further behind what we did have between Speed Knighton and Chill, and then Chill, unfortunately, has spun around for QBR, so he's dropped down the order as Noisy gets ahead of Rally JT, so that is a move for second and third place. These drivers still yet to stop, of course.
Yes, so they'll be stretching their stint for quite a long time as well, but they're still fighting for position, so at least we got to follow them as well, so we won't know where Noisy will come out until later on in the race, but Noisy just running a bit to the left a little bit, which allowed Rally to get a bit of speed heading in towards turn 11 right now. And I have to say, you wouldn't want to be running wide in these corners, because otherwise you're going to be there for quite a long time. Don't run into the red bits of the track, because that is where you're going to lose a lot of time due to tyre deck, I have to say. Learn from experience, my friends. As speaking of experience, Rally goes into the pits earlier than Noisy and earlier than Kryptonite, so he's going to be the first one of the medium runners who started at since the start of the race to pit. I believe he's going to go on to another set of the medium tyres, but it is a long run to the Alfa Romeo pit box, so we'll have to wait and see. I do see yellow striped mediums waiting for him, and it is the yellow striped medium, so he's not doing the double soft stint, unfortunately, but where is he going to come out of? So it's going to be close, I think, between him and Speed Knighton then. Nope, Speed Knighton actually breezes past him. What about Colin then? I think he just goes ahead of Colin.
Yeah, I think just coming out ahead of Colin. That's a bit earlier than I think he'd have wanted to come into the pits, to be honest, if I was Rally JT. 9 laps on a set of mediums, and you've got to use both types of tyre. Let's not forget. So he's going to have to stretch his second set of mediums quite a bit longer. It looks like, again, Matthew all over the back of Sly Guy, but just not looking too interested this time around in getting the move done. And all of a sudden, Matthew has a tiny bit more ERS than the Red Bull. So whether obviously running in the slipstream, he's able just to not accelerate quite as much, not having to use overtake as much, and just save that tiny bit of electrical energy at this moment in time. They are catching up to the traffic ahead of them, but I think we'll see Elliot or Ecos Raggy pit, Noisy and Kryptonite pit before Sly Guy and Matthew Older catch up to them. So they shouldn't really interrupt in that battle. And Ishida, he caught up and passed Nolan fairly easily. He's not been able to get away, and Jarafu is also being dragged along in this battle, which at the moment looks like it could be for the final podium slot, of course, with Cohen having that 3-second time penalty.
Yes, indeed. Raggy goes into the pits then for a set, probably for the mediums as well. Kryptonite stays out for long, which strongly suggests that Kryptonite is going for the soft compound of tyres then. So your running order so far: Silly Sly Guy on net race leader, Matthew Older in second position, Cohen in third position on those mediums. So everybody is on the medium tyres apart from Joey and TDB down in 18th and 19th place. Cohen has picked himself another 3-second time penalty, which could affect more drivers to gain more positions. That is not good news if you're Barrère Carrel's team right now. Barrère Carrel's missed out on 2 races as well today due to the lack of, due to using all their driver changes and all their drivers being asleep. But at least they've got the drivers running in the races at the moment, as Matthew Older was trying to get past Silly Sly Guy into turn 8. Couldn't quite do it. This could go down to the wire here, go down to the last lap, which could be absolutely insane, which could make a difference to whether Bottle Job Racer catch up to the likes of the Absolute Units and Relentless in the championship. As yellow flag, that's Yoshida. Yoshida has gone for a bit of a spin then into turn 8, heading towards turn 9 now. Bit of an annoying situation for Yoshida at his Berlin tyre, and it's allowing the cars behind to catch up. That is Mercedes car, and it's the Alfa Romeo car of Rally as well. So, well, luckily he hasn't lost that much, but he's got tyre penalties where the drivers behind haven't. So, yeah, he's on the back foot here.
Yeah, lost a lot of time, gained a lot of tyre temperature in those rears, I imagine, which is not what you want coming through this final sector. He's going to be sliding all over the place, and you can see Speed Knighton is just able to catch him up ever so slightly at the moment. Don't think he'll be close enough to have a move, and there you go, Ishida. In the end, he's going to go for a very long run on this set of medium tyres, perhaps realising that that set is absolutely cooked. Matthew Older again all over the back of Silly Sly Guy. He's nearly got a full battery now as the Alpine man. He's got about 25% more than the Red Bull driver. He's not interested in overtaking. He's either going to go for an undercut and absolutely use all his ERS on the outlap, or go for the overcut and use all his ERS on the inlap here, just to try something different, because he's not really able to get close enough to have a go. Although saying that, this is the closest he's been for a while. Is he going to be interested about going for a move on the brakes? no, stays behind for now, just concentrates on getting that good line through the Mistral chicane. These two clearly the class of the field at the moment. As further back, Javafu trying to go all the way around the outside of Nolan before we get to the Mistral chicane. Good move by the Aston Martin driver, puts him in a net P3 for now after the penalties.
Yeah, that's great to see from Javafu as well. I commentated on him before last night. He's done an excellent job for never last race in this event, so great job to him so far. In P6 at the moment, but he's a net P4 in this race and overtaken Nolan, so that could really help him, as he almost had a bit of a spin there as well, as he tries to defend from Nolan. And Kryptonite then is going into the pit service noisy. That means everyone has done their one stop. They still got one more stop to go. I won't be surprised if either one of those two go for the soft tyres. And I do see red stripes for the red Ferrari. Yeah, Kryptonite goes on to the softs. And what about Noisy? If he goes on the mediums, then it's going to be he needs an absolute miracle. Nope, he goes on the softs, because otherwise why would he stay out as well? And we just joined us. Hello, good morning, and hope you had a good night's sleep. Welcome back to the 24 hours of F1. We still got a few more races to go after this one. We just had Canada, we just had Brazil, and we're in France at the moment. And then we got Bahrain up next, and then we got China, and then we got the final round of Abu Dhabi. And still the championship has yet to be decided, as we're still seeing more penalties being picked from some drivers. As Speed Knighton has been the next person to pick up a 3-second time penalty, as Matthew Older again not getting the move done on Silly Sly Guy, which is I wasn't expecting, because Silly Sly Guy's got Lesio as Peter's out of the race. Where did he bin it, actually? It's hard to tell. I think it was just after turn 7. Yeah, I just seen his Mercedes car parked on the side there. That is an unfortunate crash, and what could have been good points for Team Speed Esports is now 0 points for them.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, I imagine he's just had a bit of a slide through turn 6, maybe tried to correct it and then lost it through turn 7. Javafu's now picked up a penalty, so he's dropped back obviously behind Nolan on track as well. Nolan needs to try and get a bit of a move on here if he wants to get a podium for Relentless, because I think they're going to need it. Kryptonite is at this moment in time about 4 seconds behind Nolan. He's on a set of soft tyres and will be on a set of soft tyres, I think, at the end of the race. He started 14 places behind Nolan. This could well be a performance for the Absolute units that puts them in prime position to win the championship. I don't think we have the updated standings, unfortunately, after the last race at Brazil, but I can tell you that I think they're about 32, 33 points ahead at this moment in time. Relentless aren't going to be gaining too much in this one as things stand at the moment, but we're only halfway through. Still a long way to go in this race, and then we've got, I believe, is it Bahrain, China, and Abu Dhabi to finish off the event. Plenty of laps turned, and let's not forget it is for charity, of course. Young Minds and Special Effects. You can see the total £858 and £588 respectively. You can use the links below to donate, or !donate in the chat. And someone who's not giving away any gifts at the moment is Sly Guy. He's just doing enough to stay ahead of Matthew Older. This is going to be a frenetic final stint between these two drivers, I think.
And I'm almost certain Silly Sly Guy would want to get the undercut once again. I'm sure Matthew Older wants to do the same right now, but I won't be surprised if both of them follow each other in as it stands. We're down one driver at this moment in time, but we've still got 18 other drivers racing for good points in this championship, as Kryptonite has got past XL Prix and he's up into P6 and could chase down Nolan. I have to agree. Kryptonite's pulled off a stellar performance in this race. The alternate strategy working out in his favour right now. Very good for the Absolute units. As is anyone going to go into the pits? Not a surprise, really. Nolan, just like he did in the last stop, he's the first person to pit once again. So will it be another set of mediums for the Relentless boys as he comes in? Yes, it is. Another set of the medium tyres. So he'll be going until the end of this race, with not that long to go until the end, so anything can happen. So let's see if Nolan doesn't have some traffic to deal with. Hopefully he will have some clear air, because otherwise he's going to lose so much time to the likes of Kryptonite, Jirufu and XL Prix as well. XL's had a good performance. Noisy up into P7, another driver to keep an eye on as well as Kryptonite, but Noisy with those penalties could lose down a chunk of positions. But yeah, another common theme. If you started last, you seem to be having good races.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. Noisy gained, 13 positions at this moment in time? He's on for a good performance even without that penalty. Kryptonite's got to be a favourite for a podium here all of a sudden. He's got more pace than Javafu and Cohen at the moment. He is a long way behind Cohen, who has 6 seconds of penalties, and we can assume he's going to get maybe another 3-second penalty. I'll be very surprised if he keeps it clean for the rest of the race, given his previous form at this moment in time. But yeah, Kryptonite's doing an absolutely fantastic job at this moment in time. Nolan's come out in 13th place. He's got a tiny bit of free air. Then he'll be catching up to the back of Geordie, who I think might be coming in very soon after pitting on the first lap as well. The two leaders deciding to carry on that tiny bit longer. So Sly Guy's still leading from Matthew Alder. Jerafu not coming into the pits either. He's got Kryptonite all over the back of him. Not sure how long he's going to be able to keep him behind. 9-lap mediums versus 2-lap softs. Should be fairly straightforward for the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, it should be as well, but maybe not in this corner though. Maybe into the next DRS zone as well. We could get the move done into turn 4 and 5 if he's lucky. But Kryptonite knows what he's doing. He's quite experienced as well in league racing. Of course, he's well known in PSGL as one of the head stewards in PSGL, and he's scored good points for the Absolute units, who are still leading. For how long they're going to keep that lead remains to be seen. I think if they get good results here, and if they get good results in Bahrain and in the next round before Abu Dhabi in China, then surely they would have the title wrapped up. So Kryptonite crucially gets past Girofo just before the DRS zone of turn 8, and he's up into P4 already, and more crucially, he's going to be within penalty range soon of Cohen, so he could definitely get a podium. The delta between the softs and the mediums, 1.2 seconds, and he's 6.1 seconds down on Cohen. So I would say within 4 or 5 laps, he would be within Cohen, which will be insane for the Ferrari driver, but he just got to keep within the pace because he knows that these soft tyres don't last much around this circuit.
Yeah, they don't, not whatsoever. Getting them 8 laps out of him is going to be a bit of a stretch, to be perfectly honest, but should be able to do it, especially judging by how well he did earlier on. Cohen into the pits then from his set of mediums. This is going to have to be a second set of mediums. He'll have lost out a bit of time to Nolan, but I wouldn't expect him to get undercut by his fellow McLaren driver. Bear Corrals, after missing the last couple of races, are going to get a pretty decent point score here. And no, in fact, Cohen has gone for a set of soft tyres. 11 laps on those. They're going to feeling decidedly second best by the end of this race.
Yeah, indeed, but he's going to be on fresher tyres compared to the likes of Noisy and Kryptonite. So let's see how we could do trying to get past the medium runners then. For the last 11 laps of this race. So where is he going to come? He just comes out just ahead of Chill, actually, who's yet to make their second stop. So I'll get the stops up very quickly for those of you that are Jeff in the top 8 yet to make their second stop. Cohen has made his 2 stops, as well as Noah Yoshida and Colin Mason, who was having a battle with Geordie, but Geordie just gone into the pits as well. Yoshida, Colin, Geordie, Ollie Flabel made their 2 stops as well. Birdmeister just came into the pits for his second stop, but Joey and TDB has made 3 stops. And oh, look at this. Matthew Walden has just gone very close there to City Sly Guy. It just could go either way. It may be that one person could be forced into a mistake, but I don't get it. Matthew Walden is still pushing, and he's hardly using any of his ERS. Matthew Walden is a god.
I was really expecting maybe that lap to see Matthew do the opposite of Silly Sly Guy, so I thought he might have been coming into the pits that time around, but no, he's decided to stay out for now. He's just happy to stay behind Sly Guy at the moment, but it can't be too long before one of these blinks first and dives into the pits, and whoever stays out is going to use a lot of that ERS, of course, to push like crazy, use everything they've got on that final set of the medium tyres to see what they can do in this race. That is another time penalty for Cohen. Any slim chance he had of getting a podium, I think we can safely say, has now come out of the window. We've got a few other people coming into the chat. Morning to Spin FL, morning to Ben, morning to Matthias Van Erven as well, who've got a fantastic P6 in the final esports race at a Brazilian Grand Prix. Well deserved for all his hard work. And the drivers
double
definitely
points
have to
for
work
Haas
hard
as well.
at the moment. Yeah, double hot points for Haas as well, with Cedric Tomei getting some points as well. Matthew Alder's really close to the back of Silly Sly Guy, not able to get anything done. I think where we could see a move shortly, though, is Noisy on the back of XL Bree for 5th place.
Here we go then, heading towards turn 8. Noisy has got the straight line speed. He hardly has any ERS, but that does not matter, as XL Bree doesn't have many ERS. Easy, comfortably done there. Noisy up into 5th place, but Noisy does have 3 seconds of penalties. XL Bree does not, so Noisy just got to make sure he gets rid of that deficit in order to stay in P5 then. So brilliant job from both of those drivers as well. And I think, are we seeing some more moves? Maybe Rally could get past Radgate anytime soon, but Radgate is trying to increase out of the DRS range very, very soon as well, as we're seeing Noisy getting past the lapped car of TDB. Luckily it's ghosted, because otherwise it would be very, very hard to try and get past at the moment. But don't forget, if you just joined us, because obviously there was a few of you that are new, obviously, since the beginning of the event, mandatory 2 stops that they have to complete, and no safety cars and clear weather, except if you were racing around USA, where it was a 1 stop around the wet conditions. And I was watching that as well. It got quite crazy at times, but there was quite a lot of survivors there, and everyone did a pretty good job. As Cohen sets the fastest lap of the race, he wants to make sure that no one would get within their penalty range to lose a few positions, because Cohen is already on the back foot so far. Matthew Alder's gone for the lead of the race. This is crucial in terms of pit stops. And there we go. That was nicely timed from Matthew Alder. He was using a bit of his ERS as well, and that hurts a little bit for Silly Sly Guy, but it is to be expected. This could be going on until the end of the race. Maybe Silly Sly Guy wants a bit of DRS so he can get past him on the final few laps, but surely Silly Sly Guy or Matthew Alder will be coming in this lap.
Yeah, I think Matthew's decided, right, I'm coming in on this lap. I am using everything I've got in this set of medium tyres. 8 laps on medium, on soft should be fairly straightforward for these drivers to do. I think we'll be seeing a few more maybe coming to the pits as well on this lap to try and make their final pit stop. It is the top 8 drivers at this moment in time who have yet to come into the pits, and no, both of them again decided to stay out for that 1 extra lap. So are we going to see now Matthew try to speed up ever so slightly to try and break that gap? And we've got Burmeister picking up another time penalty. I mean, it says a lot about those top 2 drivers. They've been battling, well, they've been pushing so hard in this race, and both of them still yet to get any penalties. We've got a yellow flag a bit further back, and that is Ollie Flavel, who's had a spin through the Mistral chicane down in 15th place. A few more drivers coming in then, Jerifu, Noisy, and Rally JT, all coming into the pits then for their final stops. They'll be going on softs until the end of this race. But that battle at the front of the field, Matthew Alder, 8 tenths ahead of Silly Sly Guy. I think he's decided, right, I've had enough of watching your rear wing. I am going to go for this. You try to keep up with me now.
Yeah, I think the way that Silly Sly Guy is going to be ahead of Matthew Alder is an undercut, but I'm sure Matthew Alder's going to do the opposite of what Silly Sly Guy is doing and go into the pits anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be tight between these two, but I have to say, brilliant job from these two. I don't think they've been in each other's clean air for the past whole of this race so far, which just goes to show how far they are the rest of the field. About 14 seconds separate between first and third, 13 and a half separate between third and second. That just shows how it's like Lewis Hamilton versus Max Verstappen, but it is Matthew Alder versus Silly Sly Guy at this moment in time. So we'll see if these guys jump into the pits. I wonder if Kryptonite will jump into the pits as well for a fresh set of softs. And Matthew Alder comes in, and that surely means Silly Sly Guy has to come in too, which he does. He had no other choice, didn't he? Because he knew he had the advantage last time around with the undercut.
Yeah, definitely. So had to come in this time around. They're going to have 7 laps to do on that set of the soft tyres. Should come out for, as they came into the pits, of course, with that esports pit release on. It's going to be pretty tight here. But yeah, Matthew Alder stays ahead. Interestingly, he was the one who followed the pit line, and quite a few other drivers haven't in this race. Whether you'll get reported for that as it is a charity event, I'm not quite so sure, if I'm being honest. Kryptonite in as well, Prix and Raggy in as well. So that is everyone now has done their compulsory 2 stops here, and Matthew Alder in the lead of this race, and you can see how big the undercut is here is at this circuit, because now Cohen has nearly managed to get within DRS range of these drivers. He's going to drop back rapidly though on that older set of the soft tyres. Nolan now in 4th place, and Kryptonite, he comes out in 5th on a fresh set of soft tyres, 11 seconds behind Cohen, gets within 9 seconds, he'll be on the podium.
That was just absolutely insane for Kryptonite as well if he keeps pushing, but he's already within 1.3 seconds of Nolan as he tries to get past as well. It's going to be a DRS train with Giraffi as well, who's doing a great job as well. As it stands, the top 18 will score points. Meanwhile, Esports World is having a good race so far as Colin Mason tries to get past Raggy there into turn number 6. Don't forget, Colin had a spin and had contact with a few other cars at the start, but he's still fighting back. It's just a saying in Formula 1 that you do not give up, and he is definitely not giving up, and he's been showing very, very good pace for us so far. But Silly Sly Guy is already closing after the back on Matthew Alder. That slipstream is definitely helping. Let us know in the chat, guys, who do you think is going to win this race? It's just going to be so close. Is it going to be Silly Sly Guy, or is it going to be Matthew Alder? I literally don't know. I can't call it. If I predict someone, then I'm just scared what's going to happen to the other one. But I don't have a clue. But this is sensational race between these two. This is like watching champions drive.
Yeah, certainly. It's absolutely fantastic. But this is a position we've not seen all race. The only time Matthew Alder was in the lead was for one lap, and then Silly Sly Guy came into the pits, did the undercut, and then obviously retook the lead of this race. We've not had a stint where it has been the Alpine leading, and it looks like Sly Guy's definitely a lot more determined to get ahead. Maybe that over-exuberance of youth at this moment in time, trying to get the moves done. Kryptonite further back. He's now up into 4th place. Needs to find 2.5 seconds in the final 6 laps on Cohen. And I think with those older tyres, he should be able to do that. But it looks as though Sly Guy is definitely a lot more determined to get past Matthew Alder than Matthew was on the back of the Red Bull earlier on. Is he going to go for it this time into the Mistral chicane? No, decides to stay back for now. I think we could see some tactics, similar to what we saw in esports, where Jarno Otmir lifted off on Mexico on the penultimate lap to ensure he had the DRS on Freddie Rasmussen. Could we see a Red Bull lose out with that tactic once again?
Yes, I wonder if Silly Sly Guy and Matthew Alder was watching that absolutely perfectly on Wednesday and Thursday when F1 Esports returned, and it was the final round, and I wonder if Silly Sly Guy has similar things on their mind as well to try and get past. We will have to wait and see. Some more close battles on the track. We've got Nolan Girofu versus Kryptonite. Kryptonite is now up into 4th position, and he's about 10 seconds behind Cohen as well. Let's see how many penalties Cohen has. He's on 9 seconds. So if Kryptonite finds about 1.5 seconds, then Kryptonite's on for a podium here, which is insane. Matthew Alder setting the fastest lap of this race. Won't be surprised that Silly Sly Guy is matching that pace at the moment as we head past turn 2 and heading towards turn 3. I think everyone is looking determined. I don't know why Matthew Alder's not using much ERS at this stage. If I was them battling like that, I'll be using all of my ERS. So it just goes to show these two have been managing their ERS to perfection. I've been watching Silly Sly Guy set to 1. He is the fastest out of anyone in set to 1 at the moment, but he hasn't got a good exit into turn 7, so that allows Matthew Alder to stay behind. Well, stay ahead of Silly Sly Guy for another lap, so Silly Sly Guy could not get past. But we saw Matthew Alder wait until the last moment before the pit stops to get past Silly Sly Guy. I wonder if Silly Sly Guy will do exactly the same to Matthew Alder.
I think to be honest, he's looking the faster of the two. Last time around, he just made a slight mistake. I think it was coming through turn number 12, just got on the curb ever so slightly, and that lost a tenth or two to Matthew Alder last time around. But now that he's in that situation where he should be able to save a tiny bit of his ERS, we've got Raggy and Rods, Rally JT battling further back for the final position in the top 10, and that is Raggy now, who has got that position done on the fresh set of tyres up into 11th. Chill picks up another time penalty. That is his 12 seconds now he is on in this race. Leading from the front, I think it's going to be hard for Matthew Alder to take the victory in this race. This is going to be a very intriguing final lap where I think whoever's ahead is either going to have to drop back and let the other driver through, as you see Silly Sly Guy set the fastest lap of this race, or they're going to have to just try and empty all their ERS to build a bit of a gap for that Mistral straight. 4 laps to go. I can't call this one, Jess.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few people rooting for certain drivers in the chat. We've got Humpy in the chat who's rooting for Silly Sly Guy as well. I think a few people also rooting for Matthew Alder in the chat as well. So we've got some even support from both drivers, which is great to see. Again, Silly Sly Guy dropping a little bit for Matthew Alder as well. He's not using his ERS, but he's got the DRS as well. Matthew Alder had to go defensive on the right-hand side. The Silly Sly Guy was definitely close to Matthew Alder this time around before turn 8 than the last lap, which I have to say is absolutely insane. I could cut tension with a knife at this moment in time. It's very, very intense. I just do not know this way it's going to go. For the first time in a while, we're going to see the lead not decided, and the winner not decided until the final lap of this race. It might have happened whilst I was asleep, but this has definitely not happened whilst I was awake, as Noisy gets past Nolan into P6. So far, Kryptonite just got 1/10 to find, and then Kryptonite will be on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, who'd have thought after qualifying you'd have said he's 14 places behind Nolan, their main championship rivals, and Kryptonite would end up finishing, looks like, comfortably ahead of Nolan, who might even come under trouble from XLB in the final laps of this race. Absolutely superb performance, and this could well be the one that earns them the championship. Maybe not even the wins they've had earlier on, but just a superb, clean performance by Kryptonite. What a first lap he had avoiding all the carnage to get himself up from 18th and 11th to 11th. Used his tyres brilliantly. Looks like he is now on for a podium. 3 laps to go. Who's going to get the race win, though? Both of them got their full batteries. This is going to be a very intriguing final lap of the race. I just hope they keep it clean. Where have we seen a Red Bull battle for the win on the final laps of the French Grand Prix, I wonder?
Yes, I think the French Grand Prix always tends to provide so many battles in league racing. It's just pretty incredible, I have to say. But, you know, 1 step now, it's a gap between Matthew Older and Silly Sly Guy. And this could get very, very tense indeed as they go through this back straight, heading towards turn 10. We could see some late moves from any one of these drivers, and this could decide the win of this race. Here comes Silly Sly Guy. He almost went for the move there, but Matthew Older closed the door once more. Silly Sly Guy is working for it. Matthew Older is not having this win easy at the moment. As Silly Sly Guy, I want to be on top. This could be huge redemption for ERT for missing the last 2 races due to people missing their alarms. This could really help them for the rest of this championship, get into the top 5, which I think that's where they're going to end up if they get some good results in the last couple of races. And I have to say, Humpy saying what a race so far. Yes, it is. We're on the penultimate lap. Silly Sly Guy was almost going to get the move there on Matthew Older there into turn 1. I can't call who's going to win this race. This is absolutely incredible, I have to say. Bordeaux Racing did the absolutely brilliant thing, swapping out their drives and letting Matthew Older race, because otherwise it would have been Silly Sly Guy running away with it. We just get to see people fighting for that, and I'm almost certain that Silly Sly Guy would have preferred to battle with someone rather than dominate for the full 27 laps anyway. So I think Silly Sly Guy is definitely better. We got a yellow flag. That is an Alpha Tower. Oh no, that's Noisy that's had a bit of a moment there, but let's just see if Silly Sly Guy could get Matthew Older this lap. No, he does not. He has to wait for one final lap. Oh my goodness, it's going to be insane. I think Matthew Older just has the edge there, but I'm certain that Silly Sly Guy has something still in the tank for the final lap.
I think Matthew's got to do something here. If you're leading onto the final lap, I don't see, with how close Sly Guy's been, with the amount of ERS they've both got, how you're going to keep hold of that position. This is going to be extremely exciting indeed. Noise is now really struggling after overheating his tyres. Nearly 3 wide, and that's Ishida, who's gone for a massive spin almost in the barrier coming out of the coming into the Mistral chicane. In fact, he drops down to 11th. It all just got a bit messy there. XL Prix is all over the back of Nolan. There's battling all the way through the field, but one we want to watch is Matthew Older versus Silly Sly Guy. Final lap of the race. Who's going to take the victory?
I don't know, and I think it could go in the way of Matthew Older so far, because he is the one that is in the race lead, and Silly Sly Guy could not get past him a lap or 2 ago, and Matthew Older's overtake earlier on was crucial as well. And you can see both of them are draining that ERS. They want to be the one that comes out on top, and this is one of the last DRS zones coming up where they could use the opportunity. XL Bree getting past Ariel Nolan for P6 then. So anyway, here we go then. Here comes Silly Sly Guy. If he doesn't get this move done now, it will be Matthew Older for the race victory. Here he comes. Silly Sly Guy to the right-hand side. They make a little bit of contact, but I don't know how they both managed to keep it on the road. Matthew Older just about stays ahead, but Silly Sly Guy is still draining his ERS. So is Matthew Older as well. They got to have some last-minute attempts to try and get the move done. Heading towards turn 10. Oh, this is very, very touch. Oh, they made a bit of contact. Silly Sly Guy's lost a bit of time, and surely that gives the win to Matthew Older. But my, oh my, what a battle it has been. But it's not over yet. Can Silly Sly Guy draw out the attempt to get him on the penultimate corner? He's got to, really. He's got to. But I think it may go to Matthew Older on the final moment. Silly Sly Guy gave it everything. There was nothing that he could do. He's already derated across the line, and it is Matthew Older who wins in front. Silly Sly Guy in second, and it is going to be Kryptonite that will take P3 for the Absolute units. That will solidify their lead in the team standings, which is good news for the Absolute units. Here comes Cohen across the line, and it will confirm Kryptonite in P3. Yes, it would, and it will be Giraffe in 4th position. Then we've got Bree and Nolan fighting for P5, and it is Bree that gets P5. Cohen drops down to 6th. Nolan Nolan P7, and we got Raggy in P8. Noisy, who started at the back of the grid, had a good race, drops down to 9th, now drops down to 10th due to penalties. Now we got Colin R. Mason, who finishes there as well, down in 12th. Chill in 13th. Now we just got Geordie and Ollie and Meister, Joey and TDB to finish off the race. I think we got a few position changes already, but what a race there, especially between the top two.
Do you want to know what won Matthew Alder that race? He went on to the final lap with one warning. Silly Sly Guy had 2. So Matthew Alder was able to run a bit wider coming through turn 5 and 6 to straighten up the line to 7. Get that extra warning, but just get a better exit. And you saw how close Silly Sly Guy was to overtaking him. I think if Matthew had had 2 warnings and wasn't able to maybe just push the track limits a bit, he wouldn't have been able to do anything about that. So, yeah, great job there through Matthew Alder, showing a lot of experience there to take the victory. But I think Sly Guy, he's shown he's one to watch for the future. Dexter says he's turning the line off after this event. I cannot wait to see what he can do in the future without any line. And Kryptonite as well, superb job to get 3rd place from 18th on the grid. I think it's going to be extremely difficult for anyone to stop them taking the championship now for the absolute units.
I have to say, everybody was loving a battle in the driver's chat and in the Twitch chat between Silly Sly Guy and Matthew Alder as well, and I definitely did as well. I'm definitely going to be clipping it for many times to come. So here are your results then for the French Grand Prix before the stewards, of course. We've got Matthew Alder that wins from Silly Sly Guy, 2/10 for second. They'll be fighting the whole race. It's just been crazy. Kryptonite from 18th to 3rd, almost a last to 3rd challenge, but he started 18th. But anyway, brilliant stuff from him. Jirofu in 4th, XL Bree in 5th position, Shazoo Cohen in 6th, and we've got Nolan, Raggy, Toshida, and Rally rounds up your top 10, and we've got Noisy, Colin, Ollie Frabel, Chill, Geordie, Burmeister, Joey, and PSV and TDB rounds up your finishes. Only one retirement in the French Grand Prix, and that's the Team Speed Esports guy of Speed Knighton. And that is it then. I think that's it for us then, for our Stids. Have you got any more commentaries, Luke? I think that's it for you.
No, I think that's pretty much it for me. And judging by the fact that my dad just knocked on my window and said, how long am I going to be? It's definitely it for me.
Yeah, I think that's it for me as well. But I will be on standby just in case people can't make the commentary. But until then, that is it for us for the 24 hours event. We really enjoyed ourselves as well. And I'm going to be having a nice rest between pretty much a long nap, I think, for the majority of the day, I have to say. So there will be a new lobby made for Bahrain, and it will be Car Mentalist and Dakar taking you through the action for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and then it will be China with J. Cole and Dan Geit, and then it will be Abu Dhabi with James Head. It was going to be Nolan, but it looks like due to the Netherlands being on lockdown, Matthias van Erven will be back in the commentary box, ladies and gentlemen. The esports driver will be making his commentary debut. Are you going to be excited for that? I'm sure I'm going to be excited for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, obviously, driver, I think it was actually, wasn't it, James, who commentated on Matthias' first ever F1 race on 2018. So it'll be great to see Matthias in the comms box. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to be missing those races.
Oh, that's annoying as well. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to make it, but we'll have to wait and see. But whilst the Dakar and Car Mentalists get the next lobby set up, we're going to hand it over to J. Cole once again to play some lovely music, and maybe he'll go for a few standards as well. We don't know, but that's it for us. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you raise money for Young Mind and Special Effects. We're already over £1,000. Let's see if we can get to 2,000 by the end of the stream then. We really do hope so, fingers crossed. But for myself, Jess Ball, and from Luke Etheridge, we'll see you next time, and I'll hand it over to J. Cole during this short break. Have a good day, everybody. Goodbye.